Da-da-da-da. Welcome to Kocosports Monday Night Raw Review. I am the huge one, Dave Coco from Kocosports.com, KOCOsports.com, and Kocosports.net. It takes you to the same place. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. And speaking of passionate fans and special guests, we have the one and only Wrestling Rantin. Welcome to Kocosports. Last week we did it on your side of the world. This time we're doing it on my side of the world, and hopefully we can live happily ever after. Two YouTubers that get along, is that even possible?
It's possible. It's about as possible as John Cena wrestling a good match.
Oh, all right. We'll get into John Cena, but before we get into John Cena, let's tell all these wonderful people that are watching us, either live or post, where you could go to find more of Wrestling Rantin'.
Yes, Rassslin and Rantin', we do video reviews of Raw, we do retrospective videos. We are on YouTube every single Monday, except for this Monday, but every single Monday with our Raw rant. And you can check us out on YouTube. You can just search for Rassslin and Rantin' with 3 S's, as in Rassslin Rantin'. And we're also on Twitter, twitter.com/Rassslin. And we have a YouTube page. They're all linked up on our videos. And definitely follow us, tweet us, all that other good stuff.
Yeah, and we'll put links down in doobly-doo after the show. So, really excited. Well, let's just talk. We'll start off with our traditional win, loss, or tie. We ask you, the internet inventory, the audience, what you think of this show. Was it a win, was it a loss, or was it a tie? Wrestling Rantin', since you are the guest, sir, you can go first. This show is a little bit all over the place. What did you think? Win, loss, or tie overall?
I'm going to have to say overall it was a tie, and everybody knows why I'm going to say this. It's entirely because The Rock came back tonight, because I did not expect that at all. I wasn't following, so I didn't know he was coming out. If it wasn't for that, it would have been a big loss.
I'm going to get some heel heat. I think I think The Rock is the best at sports entertainment in the world. I really do. You know, when he goes out there and talk and people go crazy, it makes me hate John Cena even more, because a lot of John Cena defenders are like, oh, but he's sports entertainment. No, he's not. The Rock is sports entertainment. I am not necessarily a sports entertainment fan as much as a pro wrestling fan. I respect The Rock. I think he is the best at sports entertainment in the world of all time. You know, I honestly believe that. But I'm just not a fan. So even though I respect him, I understand why he's the king of sports entertainment. I understand why other people like him. I'm just not a fan of his. I don't hate him. I'm not like a Rock hater like I hate John Cena. But he's great at something I don't really care too much for, if that makes sense. So with that said, I'm still giving it a loss. The Rock was the only highlight, and I'm not even a fan of it. But to me, just look at The Rock, the reaction he got, and then be like, hey, are you taking pictures, bro?
I'm trying to change my profile thingy because my logo's not on there.
Yeah, good luck. I don't think you got to do that beforehand. If you do it live, like you start taking pictures of me, I was like, oh, baby, look how good looking I am.
We'll see.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of The Rock, but at the same time, I respect him for what he does, and he's absolutely amazing at what he does. And it just makes me hate John Cena even more. So even though The Rock was a huge surprise, me personally, I think it was a loss. It was the same exact show over and over and over again. It's like the worst. It's like Groundhog's Day, but for Monday Night Raw. Even Bill Murray would probably go insane with that situation. But, yeah, The Rock's probably saved it for a lot of people. And I don't disrespect The Rock like I disrespect John Cena. He is the king at what he does. I'm just not a fan of what he does. So, overall, shocked that The Rock came back. Happy that The Rock came back. But, at the same time, it's still a loss. It's not enough for me. All right, so please, down in the comments, put win, loss, or tie, what you thought of it. And we will start breaking it down. Please leave live comments. We have a lot of comments through all different social medias. We are going to try to get through all of them. So just in case Wrestling Rantin has to go to work tomorrow, we're like, nope, we have to answer little Timmy's question. All right, so please leave in the comments what you thought, win, loss, or tie. And if it gets too late, Wrestle Rant, and I don't know your work schedule, you can just tap out because sometimes these shows go a lot longer. Your shows, you say everything amazingly in 15 to 20 minutes. Me, I say stuff very poorly for 3 hours.
Dude, we're writers. You know I don't sleep, so it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, so let's focus. Let's break this down. Opening segment. It's the same fucking opening segment. Like, really, I'm because I gotta wake up early. Wake up early for me. I gotta wake up at 9 a.m. on Mondays to watch Raw. You know you're a writer when you say statements like that, like it's a challenge. Like me waking up I literally sleep right there. I wake up, turn on my computer, turn on Raw, and lay down and watch Raw. Do you know you're a writer when you're like, man, Monday's my hardest day of the week? But, yeah, I might just start skipping the opening segment. Do you have anything to say? I mean, we might as well cut and paste. We did a show last week on Wrestle and Rantin's channel. Please go check it out. Like, comment, subscribe on his channel. We did a show, and I'm pretty sure we could say the same thing for the opening segment for the last, 20 years. Do you want to add anything new? Because WWE is not adding anything new to the opening segment. Do you want to add anything new to the opening segment?
This is stupid.
Best chant of the night. And I love how I got to give mad props to Brooklyn. A lot of people give props to Chicago, but Brooklyn, you did an amazing job. And anytime that you can sing John Cena Sucks to his theme music and it's so loud and clear, give yourself a Barry Horowitz, Brooklyn. You know what? I'm gonna come out. I'm in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, and I'm a player-hating motherfucker because you stole my New Jersey Nets. Can't you just leave the memories alone? Kenny Anderson, Derek Coleman, Jason Kidd, leave the memories alone. But you guys stole our basketball team. But I can look past that because you made one of the worst shows on television pretty decent. And I got tons of messages of people watching Gotham and Monday Night Football instead of Raw. And you know what? We watch it so you don't have to. All right, let's break down this. Boop. I'm just going right down in order. You tweeted about this. The first match of the night is the best match of the night in WWE. If you wake up late, in my case, or show up late and miss the opening segment, watch the opening match and then say, you know what, I'm going to go watch Gotham or Monday Night Football or whatever else is on Monday nights, you are a better person than the rest of the people. Statistically, you are awesome. The opening match was the best, I believe. I don't know, you might disagree. But yeah, Cesaro and Goldust. I mean, Cesaro with the Super Dust Brothers and Dolph Ziggler versus Dolph Ziggler and the Usos. Ziggler and Usos win. It was very fast-paced, good opening match. The crowd was into it. It ends with super kicks and splashes for everybody. I really enjoyed this match, and I want to say the first match on WWE is always the best match when it comes to WWE. What do you have to say about the match, sir?
Very true. I did enjoy it. As usual, it's the best match of the night. Not as good as last week's first match. I think the Young Bucks might be a little upset that there was a triple super kick in that match, but it's all good. Most WWE fans probably don't even know who the Young Bucks are anyway. But yeah, that's
sad. That's sad. If you don't know who the Young Bucks are, please go to YouTube now and Google. Google and YouTube are your friends as long as you ain't doing wrestling reviews. Go there and see. And yeah, you'll be amazed if you don't know who the Young Bucks are. Matter of fact, I just want to add one thing. I tweeted this. I honestly think in the last 4 days, there was 4 shows in Brooklyn. This was the worst of the 4. It was the worst of the 4. There was FWE, who had a double shot, and then Five Boroughs Wrestling. I believe that's what it's called. If I'm wrong, I apologize to Five Boroughs Wrestling. Nothing like apologizing and then maybe using the wrong name again. But yeah, there was 4 shows in 4 days, and WWE had the worst one, by far. By far. And not only that, but FWE has it on for free. Did you see my SmackDown review? Lie and say you did.
Of course I did. Watch it every week.
I just told everyone they should watch FWE. FWE is a family wrestling entertainment. It's got the Young Bucks, and it's better than anything WWE has. So, yeah, way to go. 4 shows in 4 days, and WWE Raw can't even get a medal. They can't even get a bronze. It's like, nope, sorry. Five Bureaus for Pro Wrestling was still better. All right, so do you have anything else to add, or do you want to go to the next segment?
The only other thing for that match is that this was probably the night of lame one-liners. I mean, it started with the Usos. Their impression of Gold Star was okay, but the one-liners. I mean, even the Rock's one-liners were a little lame tonight, except for the Lana's. The Lana line was pretty cool, but it was just a lot of garbage one-liners tonight.
And speaking of garbage, after the match, Adam Rose comes out with Hoda. Is that her name? I don't really keep up with American pop culture too much.
I thought that was Regis. That's not Regis?
Kathy Lee and who the hell is Hoda? But, there's a story on Kocosports of how much Kathy Lee is an elitist fucking douchebag and you shouldn't root for her. And there's also going to be a story how this so-called charity is not exactly the best friend charity in the world. But let's stay out of negative stuff. They are trying to do PR. What's the word I'm looking for? Charity. It was hard for me to say that word in WWE, but they're trying to do PR charity. And yeah, I just thought this segment was absolutely horrible, especially coming from someone that absolutely hates pro wrestling. It's just like, all right, whatever. So. And by the way, there is a huge inappropriate joke, so we'll pre-warn you. Someone on Google Plus gave us a very inappropriate joke. I'm going to pre-warn you when it comes to the segment later. I'm going to pre-warn you if you're sensitive to stuff that's completely cruel and out of control, but I promised I'd read this horrible joke later. All right.
Awesome.
All right, so next, you got Bo Dallas defeating
wait, you got to touch on the fact that the Brooklyn crowd was not having it. They were booing them, and they were saying, "What did we do wrong?" You showed up on the show. That's what you did wrong. We like to party, and they got smacked in their MILF behinds with I guess wine bottles because they're elitists and we drink wine, and we are going to come on Monday our pro wrestling show and drink wine. Think about that. In the ring. I mean, it's just so out of place. And Adam Rose, he's trying to do his best, man, but God, that gimmick, I don't know. That gimmick's got to go.
I have to give you the first Lee Corso of the night. Not so fast, my fellow friend. I love older women. I don't know. They're entering GILF territory. I don't think that's MILF territory.
No.
I really don't. I like older women, I assure you. But I don't know if they're MILFs. I think that's a little bit insulting to all the beautiful MILFs out there. I say GILFs.
Maybe so. I mean, Kathy Lee had a little badunkadunk on her, but I probably, if I was in the the little mosh pit there, I might have cop a feel a little bit, but not so much. But anyway, go on with the next match, because.
All right, next match. Hold on. We got Bo Dallas defeats Mark Henry in the same exact match that they've done for 97 matches.
Yeah, I called it.
I love Bo Dallas, and I still believe in my heart of hearts, if you book Mark Henry correctly and hide his weaknesses, he could be a huge star. I've always believed that. But they're not booking Mark Henry correctly, and Bo Dallas keeps winning, which as a believer makes me happy. But it's kind of like, really? I've seen this match 900 billion times. 900 billion times. That's what we've seen. For those who haven't seen it, basically Mark Henry is about to, I think, power slam him or slam him onto the table outside the ring. Bo Dallas wiggles his way out, gets in the ring, and Mark Henry gets counted out. So Bo Dallas wins again. You gotta believe. I don't know. It's two guys that I absolutely am a fan of. But when you have them do the same thing over and over, Monday Night Raw. I still teach children. Right? I teach children's 1 day a week, and I used to be Teacher of the Year. Give myself a Barry Horowitz, baby. No, I used to be a teacher, and like when you go to like a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, they'll tell the same joke over and over, and you have to oversell it. You know, like someone will come by and be like, flies eat poop, ha 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 ha, and you have to laugh every time or you crush their spirit and they don't become bad YouTubers in the future. Think of the future. So, like, every time the kid tells you flies eat poop, you have to laugh like you are just watching the best stand-up comedy ever. You're like, you're right, flies do eat poop. What was I thinking? So, that's what Monday Night Raw reminds me of. It reminds me of a teacher. You, the audience, is a teacher that has to laugh at the same joke over and over and over again. I understand why they're going for the children demographic, because then they don't have to just repeat the same joke over and over and over.
But is that really their demographic? I mean, listen to this crowd.
It's not.
Listen to that crowd tonight. That crowd tonight was not a bunch of 8 to 13-year-old kids and their soccer moms. That was a bunch of wrestling fans who, for some reason, went to WWE Raw to watch a wrestling show and got what they got tonight.
Yeah, and not only that, but their demographics don't show that, their sponsorship don't show that, their time slots don't show that. Nothing shows that except them repeating it over and over and over. And it's like a really crooked, disgusting politician hiding behind children. It's not for children. I have an 8-year-old son. I teach thousands of kids. I have a 13-year-old daughter. None of them find it interesting. My 2-year-old son doesn't find it interesting. So your real demographic is teen to nerd, but you're embarrassed of that because you're embarrassed to be in pro wrestling. That's the bottom line, and your product shows. But I have a conspiracy theory. Here's my conspiracy theory. There was a story that broke on Kocosports that Brock Lesnar is not going to be on WWE television until next year. Next year, not like, really next year. I'm not being sarcastic. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but no. That's actually factual. And their thing is, well, it's only $9.99. Who cares? But you have to actually make your product good eventually. I just think they have given up. I honestly think Vince McMahon says, let's keep giving them the same exact show until the ratings go down. Like, don't change anything.
I don't know if the ratings can go down any lower. I mean, again, they hit the 2.6s a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's pretty damn low. That's lower than what Nitro was pulling in.
Yeah, and the part that cracks me up about it is, like, there was one time, I don't know if people have to know who this is. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to, like, younger people, and I live in Japan, so I have to describe stuff, over-describe it. But Charles Schultz used to troll Snoopy. And Snoopy, Charles Schultz, he had this comic strip where Charlie Brown had his kite stuck in a tree, and it was one frame, and he was like, I'm just going to keep sending that in until they say stop. Because, like, he's like, get it? Charlie Brown's still waiting. It's been 3 days. It's been 5 days. Well, he wanted to see how far it went. It went 3 days, and everyone's like, Charles Schultz, what the hell are you doing? So it's kind of like kids in the 70s, because, people are like, oh, people complain too much online. Kids in the 70s were like, no, 3 times is enough. So it's so funny because you say, oh, the internet complains. Oh, remember when people enjoyed stuff and they could repeat it over and over. That time never existed. Charles Schultz proved that in the 70s. He sent out the same comic strip over and over and over again. It was just Charlie Brown holding his kite, waiting for the kite-eating tree to give it up. And it went 3 days. That was without the internet. There was that much outrage without the internet. So I honestly think fans in general, humans, are weak. You see all the time, oh, you should have complained, just enjoy it. There was 8-year-olds in the 70s that said, Charles Schultz, this is enough. When are today's generation's wrestling fans going to be stronger than 8-year-olds in the 70s? But no, they did the same exact thing over and over and over again. I don't know, because I always get mad. I know you did a show about that. Like, I think people glamorize the past more than it really was. People complained in the past. It's just now we have a bigger stage and more people to agree on. Like, an example, when I was a kid, I grew up in New Jersey, and that was WWE territory. And I was a Ric Flair guy, and I hated Hulk Hogan. And before the internet, I thought I was the only one. Everyone around me. So, no, it's just people find each other and give different opinions. All right, we're getting way off topic there. You want to add anything, or you just want to go right next segment?
We can go to the next segment. I have no disagreements there.
All right, Dean Ambrose comes out, and you enjoyed this one. I saw you on Twitter. You had a, I've never seen your face because you have a real job where you can't show your face.
Yeah. By the way, that's why that logo's on the screen, guys.
Yeah. So on Twitter on Twitter, I never seen your face, but I could just picture you smiling during this segment, just by your tweets.
Oh, yeah.
Dean Ambrose, John Cena cut a promo. As a huge John Cena fan, I think they gave John Cena too much, as they always do, but I'm sure John Cena defenders will disagree. But he did an NXT spot where he said, oh, well, I'm just leaving. And he went to New York, and later they showed him on the train going to Coney Island. I love Twitter and New Yorkers. They're like, he's on the wrong train. It's going to take forever.
Nice.
But yeah, so he goes to Coney Island, and some people thought it was a dick move. I thought it was pretty funny. I think it saved the promo, and it just shows how much John Cena was a dick. I wish he never came back, but we'll get to that earlier. I know this sounds bad. I enjoyed it for a WWE segment. That's like saying you know what I mean? That's the most positive thing I could say. I know you enjoyed it a lot more by your tweets, so I'm going to hot tag you for more positivity.
Thank you. There you go. Yeah, we had. I definitely. Anytime Dean Ambrose is coming out, man, I'm freaking because he's the only thing I find interesting right now on Raw that's on there every single week. So I like the fact that he kind of wasn't having it. Cena, of course. As you mentioned earlier, the Brooklyn crowd was singing along to his entrance music. John Cena sucks. You should do your version, and I can do the John Cena sucks part. Because you like to do the sucks. Yes, he sucks.
Yeah, I thought the Brooklyn crowd definitely saved it. So.
They definitely did. So Cena comes out, and Ambrose, you can see the look on his face. He's just like, I'm not having this. And, Cena's trying to give his usual, I appreciate all. For God's sakes, there's the same promo you cut every time you come to an audience and they hate your guts. But the cool thing about this was, in the past, whereas the Daniel Bryants and the CM Punks and so on and so on and so forth, they go back and forth with him. Ambrose is, just like I'm not dealing with your crap. I'm out of here. Bye. See ya. I'm gone. You take it on by yourself. I thought that was pretty funny because I was wondering what he was going to do with it because I don't know if Ambrose and Cena on the mic is going at each other. I don't feel there's any chemistry there with them. I don't feel a lot of chemistry with them right now anyway with the storyline they're in. I think
you also got to think about it. Everyone keeps talking about the cinder blocks, but it was more than that. John Cena is basically lost in the sauce, and Dean Ambrose and The Shield have been working on this long storyline that we've been fighting on forever. And then here comes John Cena and be like, oh, you're only mad at him because of the cinder blocks. I'm like, bitch, pay attention to your own show. Are you crazy?
Watch the product, Michael.
Yeah. So, because you ever notice they don't mention the Shield? Do you know why they're not mentioning the Shield? Because they don't want it to look like John Cena just attached themselves to a storyline, which he totally did.
Oh, we all know that. Yes, I did an entire rant, I think 2 weeks ago about, well, fortunately, we didn't get what I thought was going to happen, which I was kind of pleased at tonight, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, Ambrose, love him. Guys, the best thing going on Raw weekly this week, every week. Him, Bo Dallas, and that's about it.
Yeah, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I honestly think with CM Punk walking out, Daniel Bryan being injured, and granted one of the Shield members is out, if it wasn't for the Shield and Dolph Ziggler, I think Raw would be unwatchable.
Yeah, Ziggler too, yeah.
Like, if it's not for Ziggler and the members of the Shield, I love doing reviews. I love the internet imagery. I love going back and forth. It is great because, I love having another writer on because if you're a writer and you work from home, it gets very lonely. You're like, I'm all alone. You're in front of a computer forever. It's like, the best way to describe being a writer, and I'm taking someone else's words, and I'm sorry, I'm not, paraphrasing or saying who said it, but it's like doing homework for the rest of your life. You know how, like, if you're a kid and you hate doing homework? Well, that's your whole life as a writer. So you take a little break and watch the Monday Night Raw and review it with some friends. With that said, it's really, really been difficult. If it wasn't for The Shield and Dolph Ziggler, I don't know if I could even watch this. I might have to tap out. All right. You want to go to some live comments? We have tons of live comments, and it's Diva time. When it comes to a Divas match, we go to some live comments.
Bathroom break.
All right. We'll start with YouTube and work our way down. Julie Harrison, this is a review for all you fucktards that can't read and Cena cocksuckers. Yeah, we'll put the word review in. We actually copied and pasted YouTube. A lot of people flag us, and it's sad. Forsaken says, couldn't say it better, Julie, exactly. To do a wrestling review, you really have to jump through a lot of hoops. You have to follow so many more rules than any other review show out there. It's really unfair. I'm just glad we got our channel back, but I'm beyond pissed the fuck off that I have to jump through hoops. Yeah. I'm just beyond pissed off. No other platform, no other form of entertainment has to jump through hoops. And it's because, and it's so funny because on Reddit, people are like, oh, what the fuck, wrestling reviewers, they're always trying to trick us. But that, on the same Reddit forum, they'll be like, oh, I don't fucking illegally download anything. Well, if you don't illegally download anything and you hate people that do it for pirating, why would you come to YouTube and accidentally click on Monday Night Raw videos?
Exactly.
Fucking, oh, man. I just hate, I'm happy we got our channel back, and I thank one Google employee for that. But I absolutely fucking hate from the bottom of my heart all the hoops you have to jump through to do wrestling reviews. It's fucking beyond stupid. Mr. The King says, I think we must establish a new ranking lower than loss, so that it is fucked up to be. It is lower than a loss. So we have win, loss, tie. He thinks it should be something lower than a loss. We'll call it Cena Nation. I don't know. Fred Yelly says the podcast is a win. Woohoo! Please, and also Wrestle Ranted's coming here. He's sacrificing himself, losing views on his own channel. So please go to Wrestle Ranted and like, comment, subscribe to his channels too. The Rock plus the Triple H kick of the Usos and Ziggler and Ambrose versus Cena was the best of the show. And that's from Javier Alamos. Thank you for the comments. Mr. the King, The Rock made the show less than negative and made it a loss. Fuck WWE for this one, seriously. Giving it a tie and honor for them. Also, the whole show was a repeat, no mercy for WWE at the time on a loss. I do think, back to my conspiracy theory, do you think they're pulling a Charles Schultz? They're just going to do the same show over and over until they can't.
You know what I actually think? I think, and I've seen an interview of when Triple H's DVD, I think it was, and they were talking about Triple H and Steph having kids and Vince being a grandpa. This happens sometimes with people who run businesses. They kind of get into that, oh, I'm a grandpa and I want my kids to do this. I mean, you've even heard Road Dogg talk about now that he's a father, he thinks what he did in the Attitude Era, he wouldn't have done it. He put a different product on TV. I think maybe that has something to do with it. I think Vince also, if we go back to the 80s, any wrestling fan from the 80s knows that the 80s rock and wrestling product was really geared towards kids. When we were, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, it was geared to us. You had, birds and snakes and dogs and all that stuff. So I think the only reason he ever got out of that, again, if you go back, was Turner was breathing down his neck, so he had to change his product. As soon as he didn't have any competition anymore, they have slowly gone back to this kind of kid-centric product that I think is what Vince always wanted.
Yeah, with that 9 o'clock at night, with
And that's the big difference is it worked back then in the 80s. In the 80s, it was Superstars of Wrestling Challenge. That was 12 noon on Saturdays after Transformers. Now it's Monday Night Raw from 8 to 11:15 p.m. on a Monday night. If your kid is 8 to 13 years old, sorry for you parents out there who may do this, but if you have your 8 to 13-year-old kid up at 11 o'clock at night watching pro wrestling on a Monday on a school night, might not be the best parenting decision in the world, but Dave will probably fail your kids if they go to his class. But I really have a hard time seeing. I'm like, after 9 o'clock, the demographics should change. That goes to another subject we can talk about in another time. About a lot of people have been saying they should split the show up. It's a 3-hour slot. Maybe have a 8 to 9 Raw and then another more adult Raw from 9 to 11. But that's another story.
Yeah. Rick 1982 says Raw tonight was a loss overall. Forsaken says, so I heard that a Rock showed up on Raw. Cena still sucks ass. Ambrose nails anything he's a part of. And yeah, he sounds like Raw, right? Yeah, I like Ambrose, and he's definitely watchable, but does Dean Ambrose with John Cena just seem like your favorite actor in a bad movie?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it feels like. He's your favorite actor in a bad movie. Mr. the King has like 27 comments in a row, so I'm going to read them all at once. Fuck
Yes.
Triple H. I know for a fact that this was all him, and Brooklyn should have shitted all over the show, but they went soft. Oh, I should have went there. As a fellow New Yorker, I would have screamed this is garbage during the quiet segments. Can't wait for TNA. Yeah, I'm going to TNA's Bound for Glory. They better have a goddamn title match on that show. Bound for Glory is looking weak. I'm a little sad that New York show was this awful. One of the best wrestling spots, and it was bad. Come on. He also says, I watch all your reviews, Coco. LOL. Thank you, sir. And the old hag segment was worse than Jerry Springer's segment. It took a lot out of me to say that, too.
Oh, I don't know. That's a close one. Which one do you think? I'm because I was there for the Springer segment in Baltimore. I think that was worse. What do you do? You think this one was worse than that one?
You know what? I don't think this is fair, but you know what? I think this is my humble opinion. Everyone has a different opinion. I think the Jerry Springer one was worse because for some reason it was so bad I had to watch it and made me angry. These women came up. No, these women came up, and I literally didn't pay attention. So I think the Jerry Springer one made me more angry because I actually paid attention. Where the girls in pink, I'm like, oh, it's for charity. Yeah, and all that, but that's also a big thing too. It's like they're just there for charity. It's not like they're there for an actual segment. Yeah. So to me, I still think the Springer one was worse because when it's for charity and a celebrity spot, I kind of just shut my brain off. But Jerry Springer was actually advertised and was supposed to be a big segment. So that's actually, I think Springer is worse because that was supposed to be entertainment, where the other one was more a celebrity charity appearance. So I kind of am more lenient or not as tough on it. But it was bad. But I didn't just pay attention to it. I was like, oh, whatever. I turned around and she was afraid to drop or something. And I was like, all right, that's all I got out of it.
Yeah, I think they could have easily saved that with what came later in the night. If they could have merged those two together, I think it would have been less jarring with what they did later in the night with the tribute.
Yeah. David Stillwell says, question, if someone's on the apron, should they count continue? For me, on the match should end the count, right? So why did Mark Henry get a count out? I don't know. I always under the assumption, I guess, different rule books, we're getting real nerdy here. You didn't think we were going to get nerdy. I think different rule books have different rules. But I'm under the impression that most rules are you have to be under the bottom rope. Like you have to roll in and be under the bottom rope. Because I've seen countouts where they're on the apron trying to get in and they're just not in the ring. So I guess it really depends because, Japan, NWA all have different rules. But just my personal opinion, yeah, your hands on the apron or you trying to climb up doesn't count. Your whole body has to be in. So usually it's when you roll back in and you're under the rope. So, yeah. Do you agree, disagree, or you're like, Dave, I didn't know it was going to get this nerdy?
No, actually, I'm going to get even nerdier. I actually remember there was a WCW spot. Can't remember who it was, but there was a spot in old WCW circa 92 where somebody got counted out because they just sat on the apron, and that was the end of the match. So, technically, yeah, if you're on the apron, you still get counted out. That's as nerdy as I'm getting tonight.
I was going to, there was one federation, I forget, they had their rule book up online, and I was like, man, that's so cool. I wish more federations did that. It just seems so realistic, and you can get so nerdy into it. I don't think WWE's rule book is anywhere.
I don't think they have a rule book.
Yeah. I just thought, who was it? Fusion out of Florida. The Sheik ran it. And I don't know if they're still in business, but Fusion, yeah, they put up their rule book like it was a legit sport. And I was like, you know what? That is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. It just adds to the realism. Alex the Sauce Bus says, glad to see you back. I thought it was a loss, but I only watched 2 hours of it, then left. Great team keeps putting hashtag Evolution. Hook and shoot. Woohoo! Back on stream. This show just reminded us all why Dean Ambrose is the new CM Punk. John Cena needs to die of heroes. And
no, not heroes. Not heroes.
Oh, I meant to say die of herpes. And rot in hell. All right, welcome back. Hook and shoot. I miss you, dude. So we're getting more and more popular, or I don't know about that, but more and more popular than we used to be. But some of our original guys, we have so much love for Hook and Shoot, Forsaken, Ewok, even the famous player dies. But it seems like the new guys, there's been a pass of the torch. Cesaro is awesome too. Oh yeah, Javier brings up a great point. I apologize to Cesaro and his family. The Sneaker Addict says The Rock tonight was awesome. Really was painful to watch Raw until he showed up. Yeah, and I'll let, but is it Sneaker Addict and others out there that really enjoyed The Rock? Did you just show how much of a failure John Cena really is? I mean, because he's supposed to be sports entertainment. Well, The Rock is sports entertainment, and look how one's doing it right and not no. And Julie Harrison says, true podcast is a win. We'll go back to some more live comments at Facebook and Twitter after this, but we have to actually go to the Divas match. So please keep your live comments coming. We're going back on track. We'll go back to live comments soon, I assure you. Brie Bella versus Summer Rae. Her arm tied behind her back. Brie defeats Summer Rae. I can't even watch this shit. I barely watched this. What were they chanting during the match that the announcers were going all apeshit for? I don't know. Later they say this is stupid. They had a bunch of different ones. They had a yes chant. You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest, folks. I'm gonna be completely honest. You're gonna pull my point card out here. I'm gonna be 100% shoot. The fourth wall is coming down. I saw her hand tied behind her back, and Leo came up to me and said he had a Jeff Hardy, and I changed the shitty diaper. That's what I did. And I turned around, and Brie won and was chanting yes. I know it's not the review you wanted. I know it's not the review you need. But you know what? I can't come on here and fake the funk. I saw a shitty diaper, and I was probably more impressed with the Jeff Hardy that my son laid than this match. Do you want to add anything to that? No, probably like most of everybody else watching this right now, I don't think any of us actually watched this match. Yeah. Google Plus. God bless you, Google Plus. Google Plus is the best comment ever. I would rather have seen your son's shitty diaper. Give yourself a Barry Horowitz, Google Plus. Google Plus, you know what? YouTube really has cleaned up their act, usually, especially live viewers. Live viewers are really awesome. But, you know, YouTube, you get those stupid people looking for illegal content that ruin everything. But usually YouTube has the worst reputation of saying horrible things. Oh, no. Go on Google+. It's just like the stuff you read there. You're just like, really? Really? Wow, I'm going soft my old age. Kane has a fruit basket next. I don't even want to break that down. Kane has a fruit basket. Done and done. Jack Swagger versus Tyson Kidd. I like this. I'm a huge fan of Tyson Kidd, the character, the wrestler. I'm just a big fan. Jack Swagger, I think he's one of the best technical wrestlers. Like, if you like technical wrestling, I think Jack Swagger is one of the best. They really focused on Natty, of course. They're never letting that storyline go because of Total Divas. But you know what? At least we get to see Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd is probably on every show ever now, so I guess that's a good thing. Swagger does defeat Kidd. I thought the match was really too short, but you could probably say that about every pro wrestling match ever on Monday Night Raw. But I enjoyed it a lot. Do you want to add anything to Swagger versus Kidd? It was good to see Kidd out there. I mean, he did what he needed to do as far as putting a little bit more wrestling into the show because we don't have a lot of it. But kind of again, kind of a pointless go nowhere segment. I don't know what they're doing with that. I mean,
for those of you who don't want to watch NXT, last Thursday he lost the match against the champion, so he has no more title defenses, and they've put Titus O'Neil in that whole situation with Adrian Neville. So I don't know, are we moving Kid to Raw now so we can capitalize on this Total Divas thing? Is he off NXT? I don't really know, but it's good to see that they're doing something with him.
Yeah, and we have Roman Reigns interview. Nothing. Like, I used to work in sports, and I used to have to interview athletes all the time, and they're the fucking worst. Like, they are the worst. Go one step at a time. Keep moving forward. Tomorrow, just one day at a time. I'm really happy, but I have to improve. They just give the most cliche fucking answers. Roman Reigns might be the king of cliche answers. Like, nothing happened. He's going to come back. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything to Roman Reigns, he's coming back.
Yeah. Oh God. And I touched on this when you were having your potty break last week. That I don't see with this injury. I do not see him getting to the superstar level of to be in the main event at WrestleMania 31. Just the time that he has, and the fact he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. And if they keep doing stuff like this, I think it might almost be better for them just to keep him off camera and have him come back as a surprise at kind of a surprise at the Rumble. Because if they're going to do this, he's going to lose fans. He's losing steam.
Yeah, and all that, but a lot of people said it lasted 3 minutes. But it was like the 3 longest minutes of your life.
Exactly.
It was bad. And all that, but Stone Cold is training to be a wrestler, according to Kocosports.net. And other internet sites are saying the same thing. But what else was I going to say? They don't really want him to be in the main event anymore, especially Vince. So who knows where it's going and how it's going to go. But, you know, the old saying, there's a sports saying, you don't lose your spot due to injury. That doesn't exist in wrestling.
No, not at all.
And then you got El Torito versus the Gator. And I'm pretty sure the fans summed it up best.
Yes. This is, for me, match of the night. I'm kidding. God damn it, dude. And I saw it, and then you know what I felt about the whole spot last week. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, you seem to like it more than I did because you kind of, found a little bit of entertainment in it. I found no entertainment in it. And when they hit the Gator roll on Heath Slater and the crowd started chanting, "This is stupid." I mean, even the announcers, to their credit, they had to acknowledge it. JBL again slipped up and
it was loud and clear. Way to go, Brooklyn.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, the Brooklyn fans are telling you what. And my tweet at the time, which actually got a couple people liking it, was I repeated that and said a quote that you hear from Vince and Triple H all the time: "We listen to our audience." And then I wrote, "Good, listen to that, because don't do this anymore. This is stupid. Listen to your fans. We are telling you we don't want Kathy Lee. We don't want Jerry Springer. We don't really want that much of John Cena, if at all. Some of us do, some of us don't. And bullshit like this, we don't want it. We don't want to watch it. It's not entertaining. It's not even funny anymore. It's just stupid."
Well, how come no one in WWE Creative who has a brain says, dude, this came on at 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, somewhere between 9 and 10. Why doesn't anyone stand up and be like, Saturday Morning Slam was a complete failure? Maybe you should stop doing this. Like, I think, without a doubt, if this is on Saturday Morning Slam, I'd defend it. I'm like, no, it makes perfect sense. Saturday Morning Slam. 9 to 10 o'clock at night, Monday Night Raw, it's absolute garbage. Complete garbage.
Yes, who is up at 10 o'clock at night? Who in that demographic that's geared to is watching this at 10 o'clock on a Monday night? Nobody. Except some poor kid who's probably seeing worse if they're up at this late at night watching TV. They're probably watching something else anyway.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny, like, just how times changed. Like, I didn't have exactly the best upbringing coming up. I would describe my upbringing as white trashy. But, I remember, like, pro wrestling was like, oh, that's a good thing. Go watch it. And nowadays, it's like, what the fuck? You let your kids stay up till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock watching wrestling? The fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, primetime wrestling back in the day, I had to sneak to watch that. That was the original 9 to or whatever it was show with Gorilla and the Brain on Monday nights for the longest time, and that was me hiding under the covers to watch it. I
Well,
can't imagine.
even Saturday night main event. I remember as a kid, Saturday night main event. No matter who was my so-called guardian at the time, I had to sneak to watch it. So, like, your demographic literally has to break their parents' permission to watch the products. Like, I watched Saturday Night Main Event when I was a little kid, but I remember whoever my guardian was, we had to put the TV really low, put the blanket on top. You know what I mean? You like had to.
Yeah.
You had to put a Mission Impossible like dun 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 dun, and like if you got caught watching Saturday Night Main Event because it was way late, you got beat. So like you knew. So basically, your demographic has to break their parents' permission or get beat.
Wait, you were raised by Adrian Peterson or Ray Rice? Which one? Get that switch, Dave.
Yeah. I do not hit my kids. It's just I decided that, but I grew up, dude. Everyone hit me. Like I remember, like if in New Jersey, if Peterson wanted to come down and beat me, they'd be like, "Oh, he's over there. Yeah, you can go beat his ass." I just remember like random neighbors would just start beating the hell out of me. So times have definitely changed, like just in general. Like to watch El Torito when we were kids, we'd have to sneak and avoid beatings. Now, like you're like, you can't beat your kids. You lost your NFL contract. It's just completely different. Don't beat your kids. I work with a lot of troubled teens, and I always see that, and this is getting way serious. But, dude, it's El Torito versus the Gator. You got to talk serious stuff. But I always see that meme where it's like they show, gangsters, and they're like, I guess gangsters. They're like kind of, and underneath it said there'd be less of these if more of this would happen, and it shows them beating it. And I work with orphans, troubled teens, single. No, that is not true. It's just not statistically true. It is complete false.
Might even be the opposite.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. When you share that meme, you have to say that means no gangster or I guess thug or whatever word you want to use, inappropriate teen has never been beat, and that's just not the case. It's not the case. Like example, one teen that I work with, his mom and dad passed away, and his grandparents raised him, and he was listening to English hip hop, Eminem, because I live in Japan, and they burnt his face, and I'm like, dude, no, violence does not equal better kids, because if for that meme or that way of thinking works, that means every criminal must have never got beaten. And that's not the case. It's not the case. I know, we talked off air, and I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but you lived in a kind of rough neighborhood, right, growing up?
Yeah, we call it a hoodlawn. Yes.
Yeah. So, like, you lived in a rough neighborhood. Did any of those so-called criminals in your neighborhood not get beat up by their parents?
No, if anything, you will notice and I live in Baltimore, for those of you, and anybody who's seen The Wire, that pretty much is half of Baltimore. The people who are doing that are pretty much the criminals themselves. You get on the metro, you go to the mall, you get on a bus stop, you see the exact same people smacking the crap out of their kids. You go to Walmart, shut up, get your ass on over here. Get your ass on. I told you to get your ass on. Stop watching Saturday Night's Main Event, Dave. That's the same. It's the same people. For discipline, if you're disciplining your kid, that's one thing, but beating them with sticks and shit, burning their faces and all this crap, that's no.
Yeah, it just doesn't work out. All right, finally, we get to the Rock segment. I think that's what everyone's waiting for. Lana and Rusev come out, they're cutting a promo, and out of nowhere, The Rock comes, and it was probably the highlight of the century just because of how bad Raw is. I It's sad. I don't even like The Rock. And I'm like, fuck, it's better than anything else, you know? Like,
True.
it's so funny because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate these fucking part-timers. Have you seen the fucking show? Fucking send out everyone. Bruno, it's your birthday. Have a cake. Happy birthday, Bruno. I know you've watched this far into the show. I appreciate it. Big fan. But I thought this segment was awesome, but Jerry from Kocosports said it best. Why did it have to be Rusev? You have a part-timer who's way more over than your sports entertainment main guy. Fuck you, John Cena. Fuck you. Fuck you. And Rusev is the only person heel that can get people over. Like, you could have did that with anyone. You could have did it with Bo Dallas. You could have did it with Heath Slater. You could have did it by yourself. But why did The Rock have to beat up your monster? Even though it did feel a little bit like Rocky IV. Like, oh, I should have seen it. The Rock beats Drago. But to me, it's just... It's like the one heel you got that could get Swagger, Big Show, and Mark Henry over. Look at that. Look at that statement. Big Show, Swagger, and Mark Henry are getting over because of this heel. And you just feed them to a guy who said Chewbacca's beanbag. That's what you just did. And it was a great moment, but it's one of those things, it's booking for today and not seeing the next segment, which WWE does too much of. Should he come back? Without a doubt. But if Rock doesn't face Rusev, why? Why did any of that happen? And the only thing is, all you had to do was have Rusev say, well, I'll fight you at next Raw because you're not going to be here. Or, all right, let's do this on pay-per-view. But no, they had a fucking, the only guy who's getting people over, they have to fucking destroy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it was more for ratings than anything else because I've mentioned it before. The ratings have been tanking abysmally the past couple of weeks, and you know that definitely was a challenge. I was actually outside. I saw Lana and Rusev come on, and they were going to address Big Show ripping down the flag, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go outside and take my trash out, and that's it. And then I hear this music in the other room. I'm like, wait a minute, whose music is that? I come back, it's the fucking Rock. I was like, all right, cool. The Rock's back. He's doing his spiel. His jokes were a little corny. I did like the Russian street walk.
How long did you have to squint to make sure it wasn't Sandow? I'm like, is that really him? Like, I felt like an old man. I'm like, no, that's got to be the Miz or Sandow.
Yeah, it's a joke. I thought, I thought that's what I thought at first. I was like, oh, it's a rib or whatever. But no, I said, no, that's The Rock. He's actually on Raw, and he did a spiel. The Lana Russian Streetwalker line I liked. The rest of them, the Chewbacca stuff, the beanbag, and all that stuff it was The Rock. I was just happy to see where he could have said anything, and I would have been, hey, this is a hell of a lot better than what the hell I just watched with two little people rolling around on the ring. But yeah, it was. We knew it was coming to. Rock kind of hit him a couple times. Rusev does an amazing jump over the top rope outside the ring from the Rocky SmackDown, and this is standoff and yada yada yada. It looks like they're going to continue this because of the way that Lana and Rusev were kind of yeah, we're going to get you, we're going to get you, but whether that's happening at Hell in a Cell, I don't know. I think they might have to because Hell in a Cell right now from what they're lining up, I mean, there's really not much on that card. I mean, without Lesnar, especially if Lesnar's not coming back till next year, you've got really no marquee matches on there that are going to be mainstream marquee matches. So maybe, yeah, they need to get Rock in, here, Rock, give you $1 million, come wrestle 2 pay-per-views, wrestle Hell in a Cell, wrestle Survivor Series, and, help us out a little bit. Till Stone Cold can get in there.
Yeah, well, Stone Cold, there are reports he's trying to get back in ring shape, but what 2 things. This just shows you how much of a failure John Cena is, because you're a sports entertainer. Why can't you get that reaction everywhere? You've failed. And the second thing it shows WWE is a failure. And people are like, my stock, and they're number 1. They're a fat kid running by themselves. Look at them. Worship the fat kid running by themselves. Why it shows WWE is a failure? Let's look at this in a sports way, or even an entertainment way. What does Doctor Who do when the ratings are bad? Bring back other Doctor Who's. What do sport teams do to sell tickets when their team sucks? And trust me, I'm a Tampa Bay fan. I know what they do. they bring back their legends. This is them failing. This is your NFL franchise in last place, but they're like, oh, we suck, but Derek Brooks is back. Yeah, Derek Brooks. That's Tampa Bay Buccaneer talk for those in Europe. But
we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Jeter tonight too, because we had two. Speaking of teams that failed this year. Oh, by the way, yeah, Orioles fan here. The Orioles sweep. Congratulations. Keep going. ACLS. I'll be there Friday, guys. Keep going. But yeah, we got two Jeter mentions tonight. One from The Rock, and the crowd chanted Jeter or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That's what they do. They bring if your show sucks, if it's going down the tubes, you're gonna bring back old people from the good old days when it was cool.
Like example, the Orioles are in the playoffs right now, and that must be nice. I'm a Rays fan. I'm a little jealous. But your Orioles are in the playoffs. I bet you they never mentioned Cal Ripken.
Not now. Not this year.
Yeah, exactly. But when they're in last place, everyone's like, remember Cal Ripken? He's coming out. Cal Ripken bobblehead. Cal Ripken's, so in sports and entertainment, this is the ultimate sign that you're failing. It's just the ultimate sign. You can't fail any harder than this. Trust me, I'm a Buccaneers fan. If they could, they would retire Derek Brooks' number every home game this year. They would. They'd just be like, all right, come see Derek Brooks retire again. Son of a bitch. I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning in the fucking Saints. Anyway, back on track.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah, and the crowd tonight, by the way, just a last analogy to the Orioles thing. A real wrestling crowd was like Camden Yards the first 2 nights of the playoff game, raucous, cheering, chanting. And then they went to Detroit, and Detroit was quiet as hell. And that's kind of reminded me of watching a Raw, because the crowd was not into it. They didn't give a shit. And they cheered for one little spot, one little home run that happened in the 9th inning, and that was The Rock tonight. He was the one home run in that whole game that got the crowd into it. Most of the rest of the night, it's we don't give a fuck about this shit.
Yeah, well, which girl? I need to call Detroit. Is it cool that you give us David Price back?
He pitched well, man, but he just ran into a buzzsaw. That Orioles offense, they still got him.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about being a Rays fan is when the playoffs start, you get to watch all your players play for other teams.
Exactly, yes.
All right, Divas match. That means live comment time.
Yes. Although this was a good Divas match, though. Well, sort of. Because I get to talk about...
WWE's dead. You always got to catch yourself.
It's good because I get to talk about being buried again.
They were there for charity, but they didn't even say anything about the charity. But they did mention partying and why. And you could buy Be a Star, Coco. Fredielli says, do not forget about Stairway to Zeppelin. Oh yeah, Stairway to Zeppelin. We need to get a little get the gang back together again. Javier says The Rock gave a class of how to cut a promo tonight. Watch and learn, Cena. Yeah, he's never. It's too late.
He's not. Yeah, not learning. No.
Like really, John Cena could literally turn into The Rock. John Cena could turn into anyone. You could say he's Hulk, Rock, Warrior, Macho Man, all the biggest sports entertainers in the world. Give them all the talent like it's a really bad episode of Space Jam. You know how Space Jam stole all the talent? Yeah. John Cena could steal all their talent. Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. I'm trying to think of sports entertainers. Ric Flair, The Rock. Steal all their talent. And it's too late. Even if John Cena's Space Jam happens, I don't think anyone's cheering for him. It's you can't suck for 12 years and turn it around.
No.
And we'll learn that at Bound for Glory. The King. The best part of the night for me is when they advertised the Brothers of Destruction, followed by when it went off the air. Okay, let's say it. This show is what makes Raw worth watching. To hear Dave give a bright and sunny positive review on the slam dunk of a show that WWE gives us each week. LOL. Thank you, Julie Harrison. And don't forget about my main man, Wrestling Rantin. Oh, and speaking of my main man, Boom Boom's getting jealous. He's crying somewhere in Virginia. Boom Boom is
come on the show.
Well, he's in the middle of moving. He moved to Virginia because he has a real job in the news. And it's so weird because writers are like, you go around, you're like, that's a real job. But then when you describe your friend's job, you always add the word real. But no, he moved to Virginia, and he had to wait for his place to open up, so he stayed in a hotel. So he said he should have internet in his place up, but this Friday. So for those that are on Team Boom Boom, he is coming back. And then we'll never talk to Wrestling Ranting again.
Never. Never. Going back to my own channel.
So please like, comment, subscribe, because he'll never show up here again. You're John Cena. Boom Boom's the Rock. I'm sorry. I was telling a joke, you went too far. Like I felt bad. Like
I might have to reach across and smack you for that one.
Like if there was a replay of it, like I was like and this is when regret hits. Like it's. I'm sorry, dude. That was way out of line.
That was a low blow, man. That was in my Chewbacca bags right there, man.
Mr. The King says, I watched Saturday Morning Slam at 10 a.m. and I liked it. There was a lot of wrestling. Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was them going after their wanted demographic. It failed miserably, but I don't mind a product for children as long as it's good. I hang out with probably more children than I do adults. Context is everything. But yeah, no, there's really good stuff. Really. The Rock stands in the ring for 2 minutes. It looks like he got done taking a shower. Yeah, well, he's not. He's more for looks than for goes. He's a movie star now, so yeah. A lot of times when you look like The Rock, you're not really built for athletics. And I'm not insulting him. He's just built for show. He's like, look how big my muscles are. I saved the world against Cobra Commander. Yeah, go back and watch his matches. He needs to be carried. And I'm not player hating, but it's just the truth. They need to give Russo the Intercontinental title and have him take the U.S. title, unify them. Then have him lose at WrestleMania, then throw him in the WWE title picture. It's a possibility. I don't know, especially with Brock Lesnar being gone. All right. So, do you want to add something? Are you okay? Yeah. It sounds like you're like having a bad cookie over there.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. King. I gotta disagree with it. If there's one thing I don't want anymore. I don't want any more titles unified. I think the best thing for them to do with those championships is not to unify them. They need to make the U.S. title. Since technically it's kind of like a third-tier TV title, they need to do something with it to make those defenses stand out, like they did with a TV title, even the hardcore title back in the day. There's something unique about it. I don't know what. I have some ideas, but we're not going to bore you with it tonight. But make the titles interesting. Make the Intercontinental Championship the way it used to be, like a prestigious second-tier title, and make the U.S. title something unique. It's a unique kind of title defense, whether it's a time limit, like 15-minute time limit or whatever, most falls in 15 minutes or whatever it is, but do something different with it. I don't want them to merge them because the U.S. title's got a lot of history to it, and I respect the history as an old NWA fan, so I don't really want them to merge it with the IC title. I didn't like it when they did it back in the Invasion angle, when they merged it with Edge and Test, of all people, to merge the title with. Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, so... But yeah, as far as Rusev being in the title picture, I mean, he's going to main event. He's lower main event, upper mid card right now. I think he'll be there. I don't know if he's got the charisma to carry it. I think, and I don't know if Lana can get him over to that point. At some point he's got to bring charisma into his character and into his matches. Right now, just going, oh no, it's not going to do it. I mean, it didn't. The only person.
Do that again.
It was almost halfway to my Nikita Koloff. Bushaba. He's the only one that could pull that off too. Nikita Koloff, for those of you who don't know, old NWA Russian guy, he could pull that off. He's the only one that could. Most of those, even back in the day, those Russian guys, the character foreigners that didn't have any personality, unless you had a really good gimmick like the Great Kabuki or something like that, or you were really good in the ring like Nikita Koloff was for a time, it really is hard for you to be in the main event. I mean, they even tried to main event Koloff with Flair in '86, and that really didn't work too well.
Yeah. All right, we got some live comments from all over the place, so we'll get to it, and then we'll get to the last two matches here. All right, first off, if you get easily offended, These ain't for you. All right, let's see what Google Plus has to say. I'm gonna read. Google Plus. What you're writing on here is absolutely horrible. I just want you to know, Google Plus. But I'll read 2 comments, and this is how it is. Fuck WWE. They have only uploaded 1 clip from Raw, and it's some bitch crying about titty cancer. Classy.
Wow.
Classy. And the second one is, and this will be the last defensive Google Plus comment we read, just because people are like, you read it. I'm like, all right. You want to see if it goes over? They said that the reason these women have cancer, the pink girls ringside, is because they have ringside seats to John Cena.
No, I like that one. That was tasteful.
That was absolutely horribly, but kind of tasteful.
It was tasteful.
All right, let's see. Let's go Twitter. Thanks SportsFan77 for favoriting the tweet. Also at K1LLAK19. Thank you. BGCFan17 at BGCFan17 says thanks. I cannot with this piece of shit company. I give up. I tap out. This is truly sad. They just keep losing fans. All right. Well, Twitter's not a happy place to be.
No.
All right. Jason Rex. Oh, Jason Rex, you always ask so many great questions. All right. Kocosports saves the boobies. We should do something with strip clubs.
Yes.
It's 2 fat guys just hanging out. Like, do you just want me to go to strip clubs and give a stripper something and say we did it? I don't. Holy shit, I really do believe that WWE listens to you now. You and Wrestling Ranted put the K-Lepto up from week on the show, and now she's here. Oh, the Klepto. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we didn't mention her.
Yeah, she's back. Ty with a great ending. Cena getting it at the end. I got a couple of my stronger friends watching you guys tonight. Oh, stoner friends. Thanks, appreciate it. By the way, Dave really digging the hair. Dave changing my kid's diaper was more interested in the opening segment. Katie Couric, yes. Kathy Lee, no. All right, so I guess we're talking about that. And last one, let's not bullshit around. The subject day with the direction WWE is going right now is 6 months. We'll have Doink the Clown again. Well, I mean, probably, especially if we keep
that long.
Getting the Raiders.
That long? Yeah. I'm expecting New Year's.
But here's the thing. A lot of people bash WWE for the 80s and it's a kid's product. Go back and watch it. It's not as bad as it is now.
Oh, no.
I think right now is really bad. It's not the worst. The worst was when Dave Bautista, Cena, and Orton were on top for, it felt like forever. But I'm going to go with it's probably the second worst time ever as me as a fan. I watched from NWA, Starrcade, first WrestleMania, so I'm that range. That's how long I've been watching. And as a fan, I did not like. I think WWE's in the '80s it gets a bad rap, but I didn't like it when I was a kid. But it was better than it is now, and it was better than when Cena, Orton, and Batista were on top. That's why I never understood people like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's always bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not in context. The 80s stuff was in context with the time period, so it worked with the time period. They're out of sync right now. And that's what it's not. I mean, arguably some of the in-ring product is better than it was on average. I mean, back then we had squash matches for an entire show, so that's not in-ring product that you want to watch. But now it's not so much the in-ring product. It's just that the whole thing just does not fit. It's not what the audience wants now. And for the first, I don't know. Do you think this is the first? It's probably not the first time, but I can say right now they're not in sync with their audience. And they were in the Attitude Era. I think they were in a rock and wrestling era. Maybe the new generation they weren't. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that they're a monopoly and they're stubborn. They're like, this is what we want. Fuck you. You're going to watch us anyway. They're a fat kid. They're Eric Cartman. They're a fat kid running the race and be like, we know more. And the problem is, too, is there's so many people that don't want to be fans. Everyone wants to be an expert. Everyone wants to be in the business. And if everyone's in the business, then there is no business. I honestly think it's a worse time because there's not many pro wrestling fans, and the pro wrestling fans that are, people shit on them because they want to feel better about themselves. Andy Papp says, and the best part of Raw is your review show. Thank you. Could you see Tyson Kidd ever jump into another company?
Yes.
Maybe if he gets cut. I think he's pretty much got a pretty good thing going. So if he doesn't get cut, I don't see him jumping. But if they don't re-sign him or cut, yeah, I can see him. He's a passionate pro wrestler. He went to the dungeon. He's traveled the world. He's a great wrestler. It's not like, he just showed up and he's a bodybuilder. So I don't think he would jump like, oh my God, look, he's on Nitro now. I don't think that's happening. But when they let him go or they fire him, I could see him showing up on another company and he'll do great. So, bam. All right, and back to the YouTube comments because we still love you, YouTube. Where doing wrestling reviews is not a crime. Remember, you're old enough to get that joke. Remember when people used to say skateboarding's not a crime? That's where we gotta go. All right, where do we continue? Boop, 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 boop. Coco, you should play. All right, here we go. Javier says, is it a good time to see Adrian Neville at Raw now that there are tons of injuries and no Lesnar? I think they should bring up all NXT. I think they should cancel Raw and have NXT for Raw.
Well, that was one of the ideas. I think some of I don't know if it was Russo or JR was floating that they should cut out 1 hour out of the 3 hours of Raw and have that first hour be NXT.
That would be amazing. I would watch the first hour and the first match and be done. And it's so funny because you get all these John Cena lovers, these WWE lovers, especially younger people, because they feel like if you make fun of Raw and Cena, you hate pro wrestling, and that's not the case. It's just, man, I don't hate pro wrestling. I just hate John Cena and Monday Night Raw. But that's what most people watch. That's what most reviews get. It's, I don't know. Jerry always says it's best. He says it's like a Homer Simpson thing. It's like WWE is that pizza company that is horrible, but they give you more pizzas. It's like, yeah, WWE sucks, but you get 2 pizzas, and it's cheap. But you're like, yeah, but this one costs a little more. It's 1 pizza, but it tastes great. You're like, yeah, but you get 2 pizzas, Lisa. That's what WWE is.
Yeah, and to get those good pizzas, you got to kind of travel pretty far to get them. They're kind of hard to find.
Did we even mention the Divas match? Paige
no, somebody did mention that, and my Twitter comment that I saw you retweeted was that, yes, somebody who was actually buried, finally got out of being buried. Emma returned tonight. Old klepto.
Yeah, good for her. Paige and Fox defeat AJ and Emma. It happened. They're good-looking women, and they're decent wrestlers compared to the Bellas.
Yeah, did you see all the tweets people were talking about? AJ walked out just like her husband did, and she walked out on the match.
That's pretty funny. I don't know. I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but, it's okay to have fun. I just hate when, a complete loser who's quit a job and he's on his 7th marriage is like, why did he walk out? Don't hold people to a higher standard than yourself there, fuckface. They aired another Wyatt family promo. Me and you disagree on the Wyatts, so maybe we could talk about this.
Yep.
I think John Cena defeating Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania killed him. Then a lot of people, I don't know if you were on this party, said, hey, give it time. We've given it time. John Cena only didn't kill him at at WrestleMania. He picked up his corpse and shot it, and then I don't know. He killed the Wyatts. He killed the Wyatts' families. He killed the Wyatts' friends. Everyone's dead. I think these promos are good, but I've lost complete interest. To me, it's like, and I love Barry Horowitz. It's like giving Barry Horowitz Undertaker's fucking theme.
Wow.
No one gives a shit. Is Luke Harper going to go in a separate way? And maybe I'm alone. I know we disagree on this. But I remember, I'm going to give myself a Barry Horowitz. I remember saying, no, if he loses, his fucking career is going to be shit canned. Now, the thing is, the masses, and I'm wrong about this, the masses still care about him. But how many times could you care about someone that keeps losing over and over and over again. So I think the masses still like holding up the lights. I don't think it's Luke Harper should go on his own if that's the case. These weird promos, at the end of the day, who gives a shit? What are you going to do? Put over Cena, Randy Orton? Who cares? Why be awesome? Why? Like, I'm turning into Zack Ryder. Why even bother trying? You get a paycheck, just show up. I think it's a lot of effort for someone who's going to lose to Cena in a week. I just don't see the point.
Nah. Yeah, see, my friend, this is where we diverge paths greatly.
So that means if YouTube has taught us anything, is if you have different opinions, you can never be friends again.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave this chat right now because you said something bad about the Wyatts. No, I think it's well, number one, I think you're right to an extent because they severely damaged the Wyatt family with how the Cena feud ended. And they were even trolling us a little bit. I don't know if anybody remembers that Last Man Standing match. The whole end of the match, the finish was Cena burying Wyatt underneath speakers, and Michael Cole even said that because they were trolling us for that. I don't think the Wyatts are done by far. In fact, when those promos kicked on tonight, the crowd popped huge. It was one of the hugest pops of the night when he aired the first promo. So they're still there. They have to repackage them because of all the damage they did to the characters. And I think the biggest damage didn't come at WrestleMania. It came over about a month ago when they were jobbing week after week after week to Cena, Big Show, and Mark Henry. That completely wiped out any mystique, anything to them. So they have to rebuild it now. The vignettes are good. Again, they did what I said they should do, is go back to that Devil's Rejects kind of feel for the Wyatts. I don't know if they've been gone long enough for them to do that, but I don't know. I'm still optimistic that they can rise again and be relevant again. I think they can do that. I think the promos are a good start. It just depends on what they do when they get back in the ring.
Follow me on this one. Know what they are? They're this generation's Ryback. And is Ryback still, I think, is this generation. But Ryback had nothing but potential. But they kept feeding him to the Cenas of the world.
Yeah, but he doesn't have talent.
What's that?
Yeah, but he doesn't have the talent. See, that's the thing where I people who say this about Bray Wyatt, I disagree with, because Wyatt has talent. He has unbelievable talent, where Ryback did not, where a lot of these other guys did not. He's good on the mic. He can be good in the ring. He's good. His aura, his persona. He's already got the crowd. It's very hard. It's going to be very hard for them to bury him to that point. Yes, I'm using that word. To bury him to that point because he's too talented. Sometimes, every once in a while, somebody who's really talented, it's really hard to keep him down. Ryback was not nowhere near as talented as what's his real name? Wyndham Rotunda.
Yeah. The thing is, I have to agree with you, but just like, a lot of, like Ryback, he is a lot more talented than Ryback. But Ryback and him are sharing the same fate. Now, he may break out from the Ryback thing, but it just seems like, oh, he's got potential, let's rebuild him. Oh, he's got potential, but how many times can the Wyatts, they have potential, we can rebuild them? Before people are like, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a negative person, and I hope you're right. I hope at the end of the day, I'm like, you're right, I'm wrong, you're good looking, I'm not so much. I hope, like, at the end of the day, you're right and I'm wrong. It's just, when someone is over with the crowd, and you just keep feeding them to John Cena, the potential and the rebuilding gets harder and harder every time. And, yeah. But then again, it leads to my number one rule about pro wrestling. The best wrestlers that connect with the crowd should be the ones that are your champion and getting over.
True.
It's such a simple formula. I just wish I could tell WWE one thing. And the best wrestlers that get over with the crowd should be your stars. But they're does he look? Does he lift the weights? Does he look sexy in a tutu?
Is he selling T-shirts? That's the big thing.
Yeah, but the T-shirt game is also rigged too. Like, it's example. Let's say we open up we are opening up a shop, but I don't know if Wrestle and Rant will be part of the shop. But it's like you being part of Kocosports shop. Okay, we open up a shop. We're gonna sell T-shirts. Jerry, get on this because I'm telling the audience. So that means they're gonna demand it like within 10 hours, and it probably won't be launched for the next 10 years. But we open a Kocosports shop where you can buy shirts, and I have all the best designs. I have 900 T-shirts. You have 2 that look like Daniel Bryan shirts. And then I go, well, I'm selling more merchandise. The game is rigged. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even fair. And I had to go off on WrestleMania 24, and this is one thing, like, when you do this, you start getting delusional. You're like, I wonder if they really listen. I wonder if anyone's ever listened. But the most I've ever been delusional was, I was in Tampa radio. I wrote a physical letter. I called. I went to WrestleMania 24, and my son wanted an Umaga T-shirt, and all you could buy was John Cena gear. And then they're like, well, John Cena sold the most T-shirts. No shit. No shit. He's the whole, you know what I mean? Here's the fat kid running the race. Yeah, so that's the one time I thought they actually listened to their audience, because the next year, I believe, was in New York, and they had everybody. And they didn't brag about John Cena selling the most shirts that year. So I just wish the game wasn't rigged. And if they had legit competition or someone that wasn't so fucking stubborn, you know, old senile man, Vince McMahon there, maybe we could get that. The Miz versus Sheamus. Miz defeats Sheamus. But the real story of the night was the crowd going absolutely crazy for Damien Mizdow, which
absolutely
Boom Boom had to be happy. Boom Boom, you know, he's probably trapped in some hotel in Virginia going, I can't wait to get my place. He had to have a big smile on his face.
That was awesome.
Mizdow deserves a lot more than what he's getting.
Yeah, he got the biggest pop in the match when he had his little slap to shame ass, and the crowd went crazy for it. I was like, yeah, again, are you listening to your audience?
Nope, they're not. They're just they are sending in the Charles Schultz Snoopy comment. That's what they're doing. They're just like, let's see how long this rides.
Well, give him credit for this though. He took, because he was kind of lagging a little bit there, and he took this shitty spot they gave him, being the Miz's stunt double, and he has turned that into a crowd favorite spot. It's one of the highlights of the show is to see him mimic the Miz to the point where he's bigger than the Miz, and that wasn't, obviously they didn't intend that, but he took shit and made chicken salad out of it. So kudos to Sandow for doing that.
Yeah, that's mad props. So hopefully he's rewarded for it one day.
No,
you know, hopefully. I don't think he will, but you know, and that's the same thing. Like, when I see a Damien Sandow, you know, because I'm one of those guys where, hey, dude, when I sign a contract, I make sure that I can get out of it. I'm just that type of person. Like, you know, I will negotiate getting out of a contract before I sign it. Like, what are my options to get out of a contract? I'll negotiate that 1,000,000 times more than negotiate price. It's like, how much you going to pay me? All right, I'm cool with that. All right, how do I get out of this if it fails miserably? Because, dude, to me, your job is your life. And if you hate your job, you should be able to get out of that contract. I know not everyone agrees with that, and they're like, life should suck, your job should suck. And maybe that's why we're writers, because we don't think like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, you should get out of everything. Like, even if we work on a project together, like me and Wrestle and Rantin, we're like, what do you want out of this? What do I want out of this? Good. If it doesn't work out, let's never do it again. Fine. But some people are like, no, I'll sign any contract. Oh, I'll worship the elites. It's just crazy. But yeah, but where I was going with that, I gotta respect Dolph Ziggler and Sandow, because I don't know if I could not mail it in. I don't know. Like, I think I'd just be Zack Ryder. I would just take my payday and sit in the fucking back and bitch on Twitter. I don't know, because it's just, dude, when Sandow and Ziggler win titles or become main eventers, fuck you, John Cena, fuck you, Randy Orton, fuck you, Rock, fuck you. They earned it. They earned it. They fucking had to go through this bullshit. When CM Punk won the title, he earned it. When Daniel Bryan won the title, he earned it. Because they had to do so much more shit than John Cena. They had to do so much more shit than Dave Bautista. So, you know what? I respect wrestlers that when the world is against them, they still show up and fight. How ironic. What John Cena does as a character and in real life.
Yeah, and it's a point of pride with them. They're almost like the Shawn Michaels of this era, because you remember Michaels when he was coming up, his complaint was he was too small. You know, Hogan and all those guys, the bigger guys were over, and he went out there and wrestled the best match every night as a point of pride. Like, okay, you're not gonna put me in the main event, but I'm gonna damn sure tear the house down, and that's what Ziggler's doing now, to some extent. Cesaro too. And kudos to them. And like we said with Sandow, he took this crappy spot they gave him, and he's made the best out of it and turned himself into a star.
Yeah. And the worst part is there's some smug motherfucker with a pencil. He's like, my daddy paid for me to become a writer. I'm a writer. He's taking all the credit for that. You know there's some smug motherfucking nerd fucking that knows nothing about pro wrestling who fucking got his scholarship through his fucking daddy, and then fucking he got a job because he failed at everything else. He didn't get his job because he fucking loves pro wrestling. He got his job because he failed in Hollywood. You know there's some smug fuck in the back going, that was my idea.
Vince Russo's writing for WWE again?
No, he's
I'm sorry.
You got to pay $4.99 to have him bitch about it, like Wrestle AM. Basically, Vince Russo, I hate you, but I have to tip your hat to you. You pretty much just did what Wrestling Rantin does and Wrestle AM does, and you're like, hey, assholes, pay me $4.99. The best part is, if you pay $4.99 for Vince Russo's product, that's $5 away from the fucking network. And the second thing is, literally nothing's his fault. Could you imagine anything like that? Like, oh, I want to get behind the access scenes of Hollywood. Oh, yeah, nothing's my fault. Nothing's my fault. Nothing's my fault.
Well, you know something, Dave? Let me tell you something, Dave. All of those guys over there in the WCW, they were the reason that company fell down. It wasn't Vince Russo booking himself as world champion or booking David Arquette. I still booked David Arquette as WCW champion. I don't know why everybody had a problem with that. You fucking retard. You fucking retard. Kiss my black ass with that bullshit.
The best part is, like, I just picture him being like that in everyday life. Like, his wife is like, hey, did you leave the bathroom light on? It wasn't me, bro. It wasn't me, bro. Fucking, I don't know, the electric company, Gremlins. I was fucking Scott Steiner. Like, here's a shoot interview. Here's the question. Vince Russo, do you regret anything, and was anything ever your fault? And I guarantee he starts spazzing like a robot and his head explodes.
But actually, you know what? Totally, just so your channel doesn't get shut down again. Vince Russo, we love you. That was totally a work. Don't. We love you. Polyboo and...
You're falling into the YouTube trap where you have to kiss ass and jump through hoops.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't sell out.
There's a wink and a smirk over here.
YouTube, please don't shut us down. I mean, this is what I love. You, as a writer, you set up a world where you don't have to kiss anyone's ass. All right, you might have a loved one, a wife who bosses you around, or a mother-in-law or something, but pretty much no one bosses you around. So you're like, you know what? On my spare time, when I'm fucking done writing stories about fucking killing people, I decide, hey, dude, let me fucking have some fun. I don't have to kiss... Dude, I'm a teacher. I won Teacher of the Year. Don't have to kiss ass to be a teacher. Don't have to kiss ass to do anything in my life. But I'm like, oh, my hobby. I'm going to sit down and shoot the shit. Please, YouTube. Please. What can we do for you? How... You want to go to main event or live comments? Which one? You decide.
Let's do live comments. It's been a bit.
All right. Probably people are like, fuck you guys in your fucking show. All right, hold on. Live comments. Boop. Mr. Biggs, a.k.a. the bad guy. It's a shame to see WWE bury the Wyatts. They had potential to be monsters heel. But Vinnie Mac has to be an idiot. I don't think he's an idiot. I just think he's a stubborn fool that if he's not in trouble, he's not going to change anything. Do you want to add anything? Because...
Nah, I gave my spiel on the Wyatts. I'm not going to say wait and see, but I say that they've got too much talent. Sometimes the cream's got to rise to the top, you know.
All right. So you're not a wait and see guy. You're like they're too good for them to F it up.
They're too damn good to get because people like me will still support them, and eventually, even like Ziggler now, he's getting his mini push. They can't completely totally fuck them up. They tried, they really tried, but they're still there, and they've got to repackage them. So we'll see.
All right. Here's a comment.
Wait, I said it.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is when I'll listen to someone's podcast or review, and I listen to other ones. The more shows I do, the less I watch of other people, just because I'm like, oh, I'm busy. I got to do my own show. But I do check out other shows, and as soon as I hear someone say, "Oh, wait and see," to me it automatically turns on a light that, oh, this is over. Like as soon as I hear someone say, "Oh, wait and see how this is going to turn out," I'm like, oh, it's WWE. It's failed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of see that a little bit. Although the only thing, again, I got to go back to for your viewers that didn't see us last week. The reason I got into this was kind of that exact situation of a wait and see one. Was the whole Daniel Bryan storyline, because I was saying Bryan's going to be world champion at WrestleMania, and everybody's like, I was like, no. Trust me, this is the Karate Kid. He's going to be champion. And that's how. I mean, but that was kind of if you looked at the storyline, you could tell where it was going. But I get what you're saying. For a lot of these other things, wait and see on Cesaro and Heyman. No, they just no. Most of the time, it doesn't happen.
Well, and my whole thing is, I'm like an A or B type guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to simplify this. WWE, as far as Daniel Bryan goes, either the fans really did something special, which I believe happens, not everyone shares that, or B, WWE really has no idea how to tell a story. Those are the only two. Like, yeah, it is the Karate Kid, it feels good, yeah, but still, the end product is great. You know what it is? It's a good book, it's a good last chapter, and everything else, there's just tons of plot holes. They just mess up after mess up after mess up. So, to me, I either think the fans finally got something and won something, and that's kind of romantic. I don't know how true it is. It just feels good to be romantic, and maybe that's what they're going for. But B, even if this was planned, like so many people give WWE credit for, they're still horrible storytellers. They just had a good finish.
Yeah, well, they stole the finish. I mean, the finish was stolen. Like most of the storylines, if you're like myself and you watch a lot of movies and TV and you came up in the '80s, you see this shit coming from a mile away. As soon as I saw what they were doing, I was like, oh look, the Authority, it's Cobra Kai. Oh look, there's Daniel LaRusso, Daniel Bryan. Oh, he's going
sweep the leg, sweep the leg.
If like the one commenter last week, I was like, look at WrestleMania. If you look at WrestleMania this year and the end of the Karate Kid, it's almost the exact same freaking layout. He fights, he gets hurt, and the next to last match, you don't know if he's coming back. He comes back, he gets wiped out. He comes back and wins with irony. I mean, tapping out Batista.
I have to give WWE credit for one thing. They're good for one show a year.
Yeah, that WrestleMania was awesome.
The problem with WWE is they're awesome at writing one show a year. The bigger problem is, that's the good thing. That's not the problem. The good thing is they are good for one show a year. One show a year is going to be amazing from top to bottom. The bad news is they have to do over 500 shows a year.
Well, that is kind of the problem with having WrestleMania. I mean, I like the Super Bowl. You have your Super Bowl thing, but it's gotten to the point now where they're only writing to everything is written to WrestleMania. Like even the past 4 months has been all planned. We've got to get Lesnar at the time and Reigns to WrestleMania. So everything we're writing, we're going to give Cena the belt so he can drop it to Lesnar, so he can do this to get to WrestleMania. So you're not paying attention to anything from practically SummerSlam on. Everything is just a lead up to WrestleMania. It's bad writing.
We got a question from Google Plus that has nothing to do with possibly making fun of people with cancer. So give yourself a Barry Horowitz on that one.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
How would you run the creative team in WWE? And this is a loaded question. I'm gonna give you an answer. I would plan out the matches for Mania, because that is their Super Bowl and that is their formula, and then I would break it down, be like, this is your match, this is your match, this is your match. And then the writers could create their own storylines. The younger writers, the more entertainer writers, could be with the Divas. So you have like what, 8 matches at WrestleMania? So you have 8 people on the creative team, and they're like, these are the 8 matches, this is it, that's it, that's your job. That's your job. And then they compete and try to do stuff differently. And the only time you come together of those 8 people, well, you'd come together every show, but every time you'd come together is like you would argue over who should get the win here and there because you got to protect your match. And then you also should argue about, hey, don't do this because I'm doing this. And I think if you had 8 people and then you had a feud that lasted a year or a division that lasted a year, at the end of the year you could be like, wow, the main event sucked balls, so you're getting demoted or fired, but the tag team division was amazing. You should get a more legit spot so that you have 8 guys competing. And basically, if you're like dealing with the Bella storyline, you're pretty much like, you're on your way out, kid. You know what I mean? So, like, that's it. And then it would have a compete, and then you would get together, and you know your end goal, but you're still competing. So, like, example, if you have the Intercontinental title match, you're like, well, this is going to be the champ. He has to get over. But the guy who's booking the U.S. title match says, well, this is my champ. Oh, well, maybe we'll have this guy lose to this guy, and you can negotiate. Because then you're protecting a match and protecting a story, and it's different views. That's how I would run it, and that's, like, the shortest answer possible. Of course, I can go in a lot more detail. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'm going to try to be short on this because, like you said, it's a loaded question, and I probably could do an entire vodcast on this. But structurally, I think I kind of mentioned it before. I'd take this Monday night 3-hour slot. I break it up into 2 shows. All your shilling is going into hour 1. You can do the network and all that stuff in hour 1. Hour 2 is a straight-up, fast-paced wrestling show. I think my crew would probably be more like 3 or 4 writers who had a kind of a cohesive they shared a vision for the company. They all came from the same spot. They all kind of had the same ideas. And you over there, you're in charge of getting – your goal in 6 months is to get Ziggler, the Kofi faction over here with Big E and all of them, and the Wyatts. You need to get them over. Your job over here, you number 2 writer, you're in charge of the championships. You need to find a way to make this U.S. title interesting, the IC championship worth something. That's your goal in 6 months. If you don't do it in 6 months, we'll reevaluate. If you don't do it, you're fired. We'll get somebody else because we've got 30 freaking writers that we can, we can pull from other guys. If you can't do the job, we'll get somebody else in there. You got a lot of.
Here's my question, and I don't know. I'm not a WWE insider, but do you think there's a writer who's just a really nice guy and hasn't written anything like in 6 months? Like none of his ideas. Like he's literally written nothing. He's not, and he's just like in the background. He's like, hey Vince, let me get your coffee. Oh, tonight's Raw was amazing. But he has not put pen to paper once, and he just has a job because he knows how to fucking play the game. I mean, I bet you there's got to be at least 1 or 2, maybe 5 writers that do that.
Yeah, that guy's writing those interview segments that they have backstage. Ladies and gentlemen, John Cena. And that's his entire contribution to the entire show. And he does that every single week, and he slips it in with all the other papers and goes, there's mine. Yeah, give me that check for 40 grand. There we go.
Like, see you later, suckers. All right. Andy Papp says on Facebook, I'm very disappointed with Raw. How dare WWE have a shitty Raw in my hometown of beautiful New York? And WWE, this is from Google+, Jerry O'Neill, Kocosports' very own. WWE's rating right now is on par with what they were 20 years ago before Nitro. I looked over the numbers. They were only getting 7s, 8s, and 9s during the war. After that, it was a steady drop. No competition, no good shows, no ratings. And I think that's a better way of saying the fat kid running by himself.
Yep.
So thank you, Jerry. It is. If they don't have any competition, I'm pretty sure SmackDown and next Monday Night Raw will be the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, just a little note on that. It's no competition, but it's also if you got to hold their feet to the fire. Because remember the Chicago Raw earlier this year when they were going to have that Occupy Raw, CM Punk, and the whole thing, they came out with a big bang. That was probably the best Raw in a long time because they had to. So if their feet are held to the fire, they'll make a good show. But if they're not,
And here's the funny thing. There's so many fans around the world that are like, I can't believe fans are bitching and complaining. Yet the cities that bitch and complain get the best shows. Let me tell you, if this show wasn't in Brooklyn, there's no way The Rock shows up. If this show's in Tampa, and I'm from Tampa. You know what Tampa people do? They literally show up like a half hour into Raw, look at their watches and be like, wow, this is great. Let's go to Ybor and get drunk. They're there because, well, it's an event at the Ice Palace. Let's fucking go here and get drunk and then leave and get drunk. Like, if you look at Tampa, especially, you'll see how dark they make the audience. Do you know why they make the audience so dark? Because people show up late and people leave late. LA has a reputation for that. Dude, they have nothing on Tampa. Dude, Tampa, like, I can't describe it except it's a social outing. Like, they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, Monday Night Raw. Cool, how's the wife and kids? All right, let's go and get drunk. That's why when they go to Tampa, there's no fan base. They don't give a shit. And it's so weird because indie wrestling does good in Tampa. Well, if you're a good promoter, it does good in Tampa. So, bam, there you go. All right, I think that's it. Can Global Force Wrestling be on TV right now? That's also from Andy Paps. I hope so. You know, anything can be good. Also, another question was Lucha. I hope Lucha Underground, TNA repackaged on another channel, Global Force, I hope they all do good. It's just I think too many American fans don't give a shit about wrestling. They give a shit about being in the business and rooting for a successful person. Like, they don't, like, if the product sucks and they can be like, well, they make the most money, they can go to bed at night feeling good about themselves. And I think that's the problem. But I hope Lucha, TNA, repackaged TNA, and also Global gets television deals and people give it a chance. But you can see it. People look at it. People are like, oh, Lucha Wrestling, this is fucking stupid. What the fuck, can't they just make money? Like, it's so funny because, like, there's so many people that are like, if you don't work for Vince, which, by the way, WWE Creative gets paid shit. Trust me. Trust me. I know what they offer writers. And I was like, no. No. Are you fucking for... I got kids. Fucking for real? That's why, like, on the guy on Joe Rogan shows, like, oh, they pay good money for being a writer. I'm like, what? The fuck? Maybe I'm just a fucking cake eater.
If you're out of college, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That's it. Yeah, that is true. If you're straight out of college and, yeah, that's
single,
probably
no kids, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not good money. And it just, people, like, worship WWE and money. Like, you know, like, oh, if you're not in business to get bought up by WWE, then what's the point? You know you can make profit being number 2 or number 3. The point is profit. That's the point. And, like, they're like, oh, fucking AAA makes tons of money in Mexico. They're one of the most successful companies in Mexico. I don't know, CML is pretty damn good. But they're really successful, and they have a long track record, and they make profit in Mexico, which is not easy. Then they're like, hey, people love our product, let's move it to America. And they're like, oh, if you're not part of WWE, you don't make money. It's just like, dude.
They'll make money. Like I said last week, they've got to completely brand their product as being absolutely different from what the WWE... Don't even mention them, not even in the same stratosphere as what the WWE's product is. That's the only way anybody's going to get over, because what TNA did, trying to be kind of WWE light, it's a loser. It's a loser. Why would you do that? Got to be different.
Yeah. All right, and we'll go back to live comments. Let's get it out of the way. We're going to go to main events. Andy Paps, thank you for sharing our show. A lot of people are sharing our show. We really appreciate it. So, because now we have to jump through hoops, and SEO is not on our side. So if you don't tell... I feel like Paul Heyman. YouTube Network doesn't give a shit about us. They don't even advertise us. They fucking make us jump through hoops so that fucking pirators and flaggers make sure that they don't find us. Google, YouTube don't give a shit about you. So we thank you for watching, because God for sure they ain't promoting us. They only care about... I don't know, WWE's money. Actually, sadly, we are the ECW. They only care about WWE's money. They don't care about little Kocosports. We were just a test run. Oh, man.
So is this going to be Coco effing Sports now?
Yes, yes. Oh, man. I love ECW.
Yes.
Can we just have a moment? Like, I know a lot of people shit on ECW, and a lot of people like, oh, it wasn't that great. Go fuck yourself. I love ECW. But this week's Monday Night Wars, they talked about ECW.
Yeah.
They did a little bit of that, and that's definitely worth watching.
I was surprised by that because WWE gave ECW credit and said, yeah, basically WCW and WWE stole ECW shit and made money off of it while ECW went out of business.
So, all right, bam. Let's go to this main event, and then we'll go live questions and talk about whatever we want.
Yep.
Dun 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 dun!
John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. Yes, the second time, the encore of the crowd. Give it up for Brooklyn. Chant, singing along. John Cena sucks.
It was a main event. Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Kane. Someone tweeted. Let me see if I can find it. Someone on Twitter tweeted. Wait, where? Oh, come on, I gotta find it. Sportsfan77 at Marcus New York 15 says, I still don't get why Kane keeps getting booked in Raw main events in 2014.
Dude, this is the third time this main event, a variation of this main event's going on the last 3 weeks. It's the third
they're
time.
not going to stop anytime soon. They are not going to stop anytime soon. John Cena was amazing, but I think I don't even know what to say. Like, it was a John Cena match. I don't even know who won. I'll be completely honest. Who fucking won? Did John Cena win by DQ, or did, of course, he... Dude, I don't know the results, and I guarantee John Cena lost by DQ, or won by DQ, right?
Don't know. Didn't watch it. I saw the spot afterwards.
Yeah, something happened. It's a John Cena match. Does it really fucking matter?
Horrible.
People are saying it was barely a match. I don't know. I was too busy.
Yeah, I think they only had like 5 to 10 minutes for it. I don't think it went that long.
Yeah, I think we were already in overtime when the match started. But Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose comes back with hot dogs, which I thought was kind of bullshit. I'm glad Dean is there, but it was like you did something hilarious and awesome, and then you come back with hot dogs? Come on, dude, what the fuck? Like, no, it's bad, but JBL and Michael Cole's even questioned the storyline. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my whole thing is, you know how it is. When you finish a book, people ask you questions, and I'm stealing a joke from fucking, who's the fat guy in The Fan? He was he was in, God damn it, he's a comedian. Fuck. He wrote Deathbed, or made Deathbed segment. He was in King of Queens.
Yeah. I don't know his name.
Not Kevin James, the fat friend.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I don't know his name.
But like he always says, like, you know, and you as a writer you'll understand this. People will ask you questions where it doesn't make sense. This is his joke. He's like, on page 7, he's eating a peanut, but on page 9, is he wearing a hat? Does that make sense? And as a writer, you're like, who gives a fuck? But my whole thing is, even JBL is like that. How did you get the hot dog cart on your subway? Like, JBL's not even putting over this shitty storyline. I just thought it would have been better if Dean Ambrose never came back at all. You know, it was garbage. Why? I don't know. I'm just so sad because it's your favorite actor, your favorite athlete being in the shittiest movie or on the shittiest sports team. No one. This is a perfect example, and people our age will understand it, and people that know basketball will understand it. Dean Ambrose working with John Cena is like watching Michael Jordan play baseball.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck, come on. All right, I'm gonna look up live comments, so you plug your wonderful channel.
Yes, Rassslin and Rantin. We are usually at this time of the night have posted our weekly Raw rants. Our Raw rants are pre-recorded shows that we record on Monday after Raw. A little bit more graphics. They're not live shows, but we do a very condensed summary of Raw, usually with a lot of expletives and me talking about Lana's ass and AJ Lee. Outside of that, we also have pay-per-view retrospectives. I swear this Parade of Champions one from World Class is going up this week. Thank you, YouTube. And we do a lot of other things, commentary videos. We do wrestler profile videos. We do top 10 lists. I think we just put back up the top 10 wrestling fans of all time. So if you guys want to check that out, Hack Guy's in there, Ms. Girl's in there, so we count them down 10 through 1. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/Rassslin with 3 S's. And we also have a Facebook page. Of course, Dave will probably have the links in this video later on today, so you guys can check us out. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right. And one thing about the thing, when he said the top 10 fans, I'm just imagining, did you get any snarky comments anywhere? Like, you gotta be in the business. I can't believe you're having fun. Like, I always think it's okay to be a passionate fan. Like, FWE was a great show, and everyone's complaining about a fan having fun. Like, come on, dude. Let people have fun. It's okay to be a passionate fan. Did you get any snarky comments like that? Like, oh, if you don't make money in wrestling, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I got a couple ones sent to my email address, but we did we did cover it's fans who it's like a mix of fans like the Red Hat guy and Roddy Hogan and what's the guy's name?
Damn,
the guy
guy?
tie-dye guy tie-dye guy wasn't in there. He was
You son of a bitch!
I had to bump him for that dude. What's the guy's name? The guy that was always at the MSG shows with the Faith No More guy.
Yeah.
Those 2, because they were number 2.
Well,
and
one of them was like that really skinny muscle guy.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Is that who you're talking about? With the number 1?
Him. I think they call him Vladimir is his name, Vladimir.
Well, if you grew up in Europe, and I wish Jerry was here, if you grew up in Europe, and I didn't, but I watched old European wrestling from WWE because I have a problem. But WWE, like, every time they, like, would do something, or WWF, this is back in the day, would do something that maybe the European people found offensive or, like, broke a European television rule. Because, like, European, you couldn't even say ninjas. They were the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Like, they had just weird rules. I didn't grow up in Europe. This is all from European friends, and I've been there a lot. But they would have this fan that they called, like, Stinky Pete or something. And don't quote me on that. But, like, every time they broke a rule of European television, it would just go to this fan, and he'd be like, and, like, they would just So, I don't know. You didn't grow up in Europe, so you might not know about the Stinky fan.
No.
All right, and let's go. All right, let's do some live comments. Bam, bam, bam. All right, anytime, Dave. No problem. Thank you, Andy Paps. We appreciate it. If a tree oh, great. I don't know what Andy Paps is going with this one, but if a tree falls in the woods, I don't know why, it always makes me giggle. It's my weakness. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound when John Cena wins? Does he get a reaction? Give yourself a Barrett Horowitz.
Go on.
All right, and the last 3 comments, maybe, because I got to pee and you got to go fight crime.
Yeah, sleep.
Forsake, it says, Dave and Wrestle and Rantin equals 1 badass show. I'm really loving this. Yeah, we want to ask this. We should answer this thing. We want to bring Wrestle and Rantin on, and I want to be on his show. Dear YouTube, Google /hackers, is there any way to simulcast this on both channels? Because, like, you know, we want to help each other out, but we still have a giant ego. So if we can simulcast on both channels, we'd probably make this more than an occasional appearance. You know, it's like the family. This is like the crossover special. Like, oh, I went to Springfield. Now you have to come to Family Guy land. So, yeah, hopefully, if we could find a way to throw it out on both things, or if I could just convince Wrestle and Rantin to join Kocosports forever. I don't know why, I just pictured, like, me and Boom Boom holding your hand up in the air, and you're, like, your fans are throwing cups at you.
Yes, it is it's Bash at the Beach all over again.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, sir, for being knowledgeable. I didn't know if you were getting where I was going with it. Sometimes I tell a joke, and I'm like, I don't know if that's outdated. Let me detail it. There was this company, WCW. Javier Olmos. I'm just gonna call you Javier, sir. I apologize for slaughtering your last name. How would you book the Money in the Bank cash-in?
Good question.
Is crazy. Me personally, I would rewind time. Do I have access to that? If I knew Brock Lesnar wasn't going to be around to the Royal Rumble, I would have had John Cena beat him, and then Brock Lesnar beats the hell out of him, and then he cashes it in. Now, without Brock Lesnar being there, maybe cash it in by going to his house. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know because he's not going to be back for the Royal Rumble, and the Money in the Bank is not that far after. So I have no idea. Maybe cashing in at WrestleMania. Mr. Anderson or Mr. Kennedy was planning on doing that, but then Randy Orton fucking got him fired, and John Cena. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If I knew, like, if I could time travel, I would definitely have the belt on him now already. But I guess maybe you can't really cash it in at the Royal Rumble. You can't cash it in. Maybe cash it in at Mania. Maybe like Dean Ambrose. Like, I think it was it your ideas that you said all three members of the Shield should take on Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, I kind of gave this away last week. My idea was that somehow Lesnar winds up pissing off all three members of the Shield. The match with Reigns and Lesnar actually happens as the main event for Mania. But Ambrose winds up winning the Money in the Bank because Lesnar screws Rollins. They all come in the ring after Lesnar beats Reigns in the main event, and he beats them all up. But then they all kind of reunite for that one moment, climbing up on the apron. Fans lose their shit because, honestly, the point of that is that the only entity that I think is strong enough to actually legitimately go up against Lesnar is the Shield collectively. And I think that's a good moment to have. Otherwise, I mean, there's really nobody else on the roster that I think can go up against him one-on-one. So that's where the cash-in would happen.
All right, hold on. YouTube, come on, dude. We have like 97 comments marked as spam. And only fucking 90 of them are legit spam.
Nice.
Come on, YouTube. All right. Mr. the King is not spam. I'm going to approve these messages while answering them. Sorry, I thought there was only one question left. And it's like, you have 77 comments in spam. All right. All right, so just cut me off if you want to add anything. Mr. the King went crazy, and they put it all in spam. If WWE was a kid's product, why did the ladies promote wine and inappropriate behavior on air? Be a star, David Kocosports, 2014. Great points. They're not a kid's product. They just lie. The only way for WWE to stop the garbage is by everyone speaking up like they did for Daniel Bryan. I agree. Even if it is the Karate Kid scenario, you look at Chicago, look at Brooklyn. They're getting great shows. Then look at Tampa.
Yes.
I don't know. How does Baltimore do? You live in Baltimore. Is Baltimore a rowdy crowd, or is it kind of like Tampa, or is it in between? And how are their shows usually?
Baltimore disappointed me. Like I said, I hadn't been to a Raw in years until the one a couple weeks ago with Jerry Springer. I was so disappointed because Baltimore, we are a historic town. I mean, we're the town where we crowned the first Black World Champion. That's where Ron Simmons beat Vader. Sting won his first world title. San Martino lost to Billy Graham. I mean, we have a rich wrestling history. Moolah won her back in 1872 when Moolah won her. It was in Baltimore. You know, we have a lot of history here, so it's sad. This is kind of where I'm pissed off with WWE. It's sad to see what they've done to what was a wrestling town, what was an NWA wrestling town, has turned, and knew their wrestling has turned into what I saw a couple weeks ago with grown-ass men wearing John Cena shirts who didn't know who Michael P.S. Hayes was. So that's where we are now in Baltimore, unfortunately.
So Baltimore and Tampa is pretty much the same city, except you guys at least wait the whole show to leave.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, because Tampa has a great wrestling tradition, just like Baltimore, and nowadays it's like, I'm pretty sure they have to be getting in for free. Because I got in for free. We all sat ringside, and no one talked about wrestling. Like, it was like, oh, that's happening in the background. This is a social get-together. Mr. The King says, Coco and me know the truth. John Cena destroyed. When I can't pronounce a word, I change it. Destroyed Bray Wyatt. And nobody should deny this. Bray needs to defeat Cena, period. Repeat it as many times as it takes to comprehend. All right. WWE watches Coco's Twitter. I tweeted Damien should be a doppelganger, and now he is. Do I get points? Sure, Mr. the King. Give yourself a Barry Horowitz. Oh, we haven't given points in forever. That's how you know Mr. the King has been forever. We used to give points like Drew Carey's show. Remember Drew Carey's show where you just gave points for no reason? Yeah, I have to get back into it. We used to give rank and points. Now we just give away Barry Horowitz's, and we've watered down the value of a Barry Horowitz. I'll give you 20 points, sir. Ziggler is so good, they told him to tone it down, and Ziggler cut an amazing promo off that. Yeah. Not only that, but Umaga was the same way. Umaga, Tyson Tomko, Albert, a lot of these guys can wrestle. That's why WWE house shows in Japan are awesome. And I know people are like, what? We're talking about different cities. They have to try hard. If not, people demand their money back. John Cena even tries hard. Everyone that comes to a WWE house show in Tokyo tries hard. Because the fans will just shit on it. Yeah. And not shit on it, like, differently. Like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, ECW crowds and New York and Philadelphia crowds and Chicago crowds shit on it. No. How Japan shits on it is they pack up all their bags, go to the ticket booth, and demand their money back. Very quiet, yet very effective. Yep. Shelton Benjamin, Billy Kid, John Cena, a few they fucked up. I don't know what that has to do with anything, Mr. the King, but yeah, I'm going to go with maybe. That was probably one of those in the live comment moments.
Yeah.
Recaked Esquire. I love Recaked Esquire. Hey guys, John Cena won by DQ tonight. No fucking lie. Well, there you go. We breaking news from Recaked Esquire. Recaked Esquire has to be. We don't pay attention to John Cena so much that we have to actually ask the viewers on our review what happened. And Trey Beeman says, Dave, what's up, man? And greetings, Wrestle and Rantin. I've been working at night, so I haven't been able to catch any shows but SmackDown. But from the sound of things, I'm not missing anything, LOL. The first match was amazing, and The Rock returns. I think that's all you really missed.
Well, yeah, there was one point at the end of the night. This is probably more for me as a Dean Ambrose fan. As soon as oh yeah, we didn't touch on this. As soon as they mentioned that Triple H and Stephanie come out after the crap that was the main event, and Cena and Ambrose are in the ring, so they basically announced to them, you guys want Rollins, you're going to have to face each other at Hell in a Cell, which for me is good because that means we're not going to get the triple threat match, which I'm thankful for. But then as soon as that's mentioned, Ambrose attacks Cena, leaves him laying with, I think it was Dirty Deeds or a variation of it. Crowd pops crazy for it. I pop crazy for it because I was just happy to see him knock Cena's ass out. But that was how the show ended. So yeah.
All right, and Mr. the King, you might be getting last comment. We'll do one more sweep when Wrestle and Rantin plugs everything he needs to plug. Mr. the King says both Intercontinental title and U.S. title had no meaning for 2 to 4 years right now. Russo should hold both since the whole gimmick is he's claiming that Russia is the greatest country. And it will bring prestige since it is multiple people who want to beat Russo for America. Interesting. So, you know what, Mr. the King? Wrestle and Rantin shot down your idea, but you're keep fighting. And you know what? It's okay to be a passionate fan, and it's okay to disagree. The internet infantry, we're not always going to agree on everything, but at least we have the balls to put our opinions out there. I hate the people. Do you get these people? If you don't become positive, I'm going to unsubscribe. Listen, if you ever come to my video and say, I'm going to unsubscribe you just can unsubscribe. It's okay. We are who we are. Now, if you have feedback and you're like, hey, dude, you probably shouldn't scratch your balls because it looks like you're masturbating, then, yeah, that's feedback. Like, okay. But when it comes to a threat of unsubscribe, I'm like a really bad president in the 80s movies. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We only fund them. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm going to go hunt those comments down, like looking for a clue. Aha. Blue's Clues reference. I'm going to go hunt down some comments. You tell everyone what they need to do right now.
What you need to do right now is you need to go into that little box at the top of your YouTube page. Well, actually not right now, after the show's over. And type in Rassslin and Rantin and do a search. And you will find Rassslin and Rantin. We have our own channel. We've been doing it since February, and we've got a lot of reviews of Raw. We have a couple of NXT reviews, not too many. I need to get back on that. Going to be doing Ring of Honor review this week too. Should be interesting because it's my first one.
You son of a bitch!
I know. Because it's gotten to the point where I'm doing Raw reviews every week because those are the ones to get the most views. But I'm like, I gotta watch some real wrestling for a change and review it. We have retrospectives this week. It's going to be World Class Championship Wrestling's Parade of Champions from '84. Kerry Von Erich defeating Ric Flair for the World Championship. We've got the first two Starrcades, 83 and 84 up there. And we also have Wrestle Profile Series and Top 10. So it's a lot of different kinds of videos we put up. They're not all just review shows. Some of them are a little bit of wrestling history.
You son of a bitch!
I know. Not to knock shows that do the live shows every week, but for me to be different, like I was talking about earlier about all those other wrestling promotions that need to be different, you got to be different sometimes. And Dave does what he does so well. I can't do what he does as well every single week on a live show.
Thank you for giving me the backhanded compliment.
Exactly.
Wait, hold on. This is breaking news to me. You mean there's other people that do review shows on YouTube?
I know. It's amazing what you get on Monday nights when you type in Raw Review and all the people that show up there, some of whom I don't like. But anyway, we do that every week, and I'm trying to. Some of the videos I have to edit because YouTube, Dave knows this full well, YouTube will not let me put up some of the content that I have because I get a little bit creative with the stuff that I do. So I'm editing them for YouTube use. We do have a Daily Motion channel and all that other stuff too. But follow us on YouTube. We're also on Twitter, twitter.com/Rassslin with 3 S's. And we have a Facebook channel as well. So if you follow us, like us, tweet us, whatever. We like live comments. We do respond to our growing fan base because we are growing. I do this for fun because, like Dave, I have a job and hobbies and a writing career and a development career and a painting career and 2 girlfriends. So I have not a lot of time to do a lot of stuff. So they don't care. But
you got 2 girlfriends. I'm like, there was a part of me like. This is how delusional I was. I was like, when they watch this show, you're going to be in so much trouble. I was like, what are the odds if your girlfriend's watching Kocosports?
No, well, one of them's in the other room, just like, do your wrestling thing. And I was like, okay. It's like, it's going to be 2 hours tonight. She's like, I'm going to bed. I don't care. So, all right, cool. But yeah, I don't have a lot of time. Like, I don't do this, like, professionally. I don't even do it to the level that some of the other vodcasters do it or podcasters do it. I just do it for fun because I like wrestling, and there's a lot of history that gets lost. Like I told Dave last week, I was in Baltimore, and I sat next to a guy who didn't even know who Michael P.S. Hayes was, Fabulous Freebirds, Bad Street. That's a sad commentary on wrestling today, and if some of my videos can educate some people to the way things used to be and how cool AWA, WCW, NWA, Crockett's Territory, World Class, all of those old promotions were, then, hey, I'm doing something right. If one person learned something. There was one person who actually said they learned the difference between jobbing and buried, so I was happy I brought somebody to my side of that argument.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
One person agreed with me. I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, I used to be a teacher, and I know, like, sometimes you're just like you'll take like, sometimes, like, I won Teacher of the Year, and that's a great accomplishment. But sometimes getting someone to be able to read a book is just as big of an accomplishment. You're like, yeah, you showed up to class and you didn't beat anyone up. We're making improvements. We're striding. One step at a time. All right, so please check out Wrestling Rantin, and we'll try to get him more on Kocosports and also on Kocosports.com. That is our blog. We're working hard to try to make it your #1 stop for combat sports. So please check out Kocosports.com, KOCOsports.com, or Kocosports.net. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. Jerry and David Cooey have been busting their asses, and we're hoping that we just keep improving. Keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Can you? My whole thing is, can you say that's how winning is done without saying the full thing?
Hey yo, Rocky, you're not a loser. I know what losers are, and that's not you. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't. Although, actually, I love that speech from Rocky Balboa, Rocky 85, whichever one it was. I actually like that speech, but it is funny.
Yeah, if I can't say, like, no, what's the phrase? Moving forward. Like, you cannot say moving forward without going, that's how winning is done. It doesn't even make sense. Like, I was at, like, and it's got to my brain so much that, like, I don't own a car, but my friend was renewing something or license or something, and in Japanese they said move forward. And Even when it's in Japanese, I'm like, that's how winning is done. And everyone just looked at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Crazy white guy.
Mr. the King says, I only sub to Kocosports. Kappa. I don't even know what the hell that means. Mr. the King, fine. You fucking want to be that way? We'll have Wrestle and Rantin on more often. And Mr. the King, I think Mr. the King and Wrestle and Rantin might be booking themselves a storyline here. You guys might have to battle it out at Cocomania 7.
I didn't even respond to his last one. I gave my opinion on it, but go ahead.
No. Well, my whole thing is only subscribing to Kocosports. That wasn't the low blow. Here's the low blow. You ready?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Buried definition.
Oh, God.
Bray Wyatt. That's it. Just the name Bray Wyatt.
Oh, boy. Yes. He's so buried that you're running promos of him every week. 3 times a show.
I stick to this. The word buried nowadays is like the word racist. Every single person has a different definition of it. That's my thing. Matter of fact, you know what? There's only 13 people listening right now.
Yes, they won't be offended.
We're making a combat sports wiki, and the definition of buried is there. So we'll see what the actual definition is on the wiki. So,
oh God, no.
we're not letting this one go.
I'm going to Webster's Dictionary, damn it.
I wonder if it is in Webster's Dictionary. SmackDown's in Webster's Dictionary.
Well, again, I go from...
Dude, I bet you buried is something like, oh, they're just going to give you the real term. Like, oh,
yeah, that's where me and my vocabulary Nazi self gets it from, and I go, well, buried means the real word means this, so to convert it to a slang would mean something else.
I love how me and you have the same exact job, and we're like totally different personalities when it comes to writing. Like, really, I write a story, and then I throw it to my editor like this. Yeah, fix those words. Fix those words. Some of those words are wrong. Meanwhile, you're probably like writing it, and you're like, this is perfect. This is how it's supposed to be. Me, well, I'm like, oh, there. Yeah, they're all messed up. You'll figure it out. It's a game.
There. Well, Mr. King, I appreciate your commentary, but I will say that the definition of buried is to conceal by or as if by covering with earth, to cover from view, to have done with, basically to not be seen. That's why I say I take that definition and apply it to slang. However,
do you even need an editor? Do you even need an editor? Like me, I'm like searching for an editor.
Like, I do. I get my neither ors and either thans kind of mixed up sometimes.
Oh, dude, I'm not even in that ballpark. My editor killing himself. Dude, I'm in the ballpark of they're like you have because I have like I think like 3 or 4 different degrees. One of them is a writing degree. And she's like, dude, how the fuck are you this educated and not know how to use a comma? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, there is a comma on every page, every word that it's not supposed to be. And then when the comma is supposed to be there, he takes a hike. I'm like, yeah, commas are kind of like suggestions. I'm like, yeah, there should be a comma there. By the way, I am a published writer under a pen name. I'm going to actually start writing under my own name. But I'm a published writer under a pen name and won Teacher of the Year. And my last statement was, I just put commas where it feels good.
Now, you're hoping my girlfriends don't look at this show. I'm hoping your students don't look at this show.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Just, like, can you see it? Like, well, welcome to English 101. I'm your host. I didn't want to say that. I'm your teacher. I haven't taught in so long. Be like, oh, you got a question about commas? Just put them anywhere where they feel good. Don't worry, your editor will get to them. And I'm like, Dave, most people don't have editors. Like, how do they write? you just have. All right, this show ended like 20 minutes ago, but
yes,
I love like how like Wrestle AM. Like that's why your shows are so short. Your shows like, this is my point. I'm going home. Me, I'm like, oh, the show ended a half hour ago. We're still talking. All right, please comment. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you all for still watching, those of you who are still watching the show, and those of you who will be watching it over the next week on our channel, on Dave's channel, because there's a lot of people who watch this afterwards. So
yeah. And we also have to simulcast. We have to figure out how to simulcast. If anyone's smart enough. Because I would love to do this every week, but then whose channel does it come on? And then that's when the Civil War begins. Kocosports versus Wrestling Rantin.
What are we going to do? I don't know.
But the good thing is, we're best buddies. So, like, when my channel gets crashes or your channel gets crashes, so basically whoever gets fucked over by YouTube will be on the other channle. Be like, oh, this Wrestling Rantin's fucked over by YouTube? Welcome to Kocosports.
Yeah, Vince Russo, we love you, by the way. We do love you, Vince. We love you, Vince Russo. Do not spam our channel.
I'll tell you one Vince Russo story. I got to meet a bunch of people at TNA, and I normally don't do this because I'm not a fucking dick. I'm one of those guys. If you go to shake a hand, you go to shake a hand. You don't fucking stiff someone. Like I think if you meet a bunch of people and you go to shake hands and they don't shake hands, I'm like very old school. I'm like that. You should be able to fucking slap them in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with that said, yeah, I met a bunch of people at TNA, and I pulled the fucking scumbag move on Russo. I was like, oh, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. No, not gonna fucking happen. And then I always wanted to get him the story. The book Story. It's about screenplay and storytelling. It's by a really famous teacher out of California, but it's just called Story. It's really thick, and it's a really good book. Every writer should read it. I wanted to get that book for him, but it never happened. So
I don't know if he can actually read anyway, but that's another story.
Oh, books! That's not my problem, bro. That's not my fault.
Wait, actually, he was the editor. He was the editor of Raw magazine.
Yeah, he started off on a magazine.
Yeah, that's right. He was editor. It's scary.
But here's the crazy part. We hate Vince Russo, but when Vince Russo comes on here, does an open letter, and you're like, you know what? I agree with that guy. That's when you know wrestling's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, did you see Vince Russo's open letter? I hate the fucker. At the same time, I'm like, and not only that, but it's kind of weird because I think before he did that open letter, I said, oh, I hate Vince Russo, but I would probably rather watch a Vince Russo product than what WWE's doing right now.
I would, except for the fact his thing about the wrestling matches are too long. He doesn't want them to go past a segment. I'm like, then what are you watching for? I mean, it's bad enough now we get the shit that we get now, but if these matches were...
Hold on. In Vince Russo's defense, though, and I can't believe I'm defending Vince Russo, Vince Russo probably even, like, the matches are too short.
Yeah, well, no, he said he was on JR's podcast, and he said he's been saying this numerous times, like, well, if a match goes past one segment, you've lost the audience. I was like, no, the point of the match, you're supposed to be invested in a match, so when the commercial break comes back, you want to see how it ends. But he thinks the matches should only be one segment long. They should be 3-minute matches, and that should be it. I'm like, dude, that's no, not for me. That's the only place I really disagree with him on as far as his open letter. That's about it.
Well, here we go. Mr. the King. Mr. the King says, yeah, Bray Wyatt he's back. He's not going to let you go. Bray Wyatt got buried by John Cena in a casket. Did they have a casket match, or is he just being, like, little... It was
what I mentioned before about the speakers, how the last man standing match ended. Wyatt was under... John Cena literally buried him underneath speakers. And Michael Cole goes, John Cena just buried Bray Wyatt. Yeah. So technically, yes. And they did that on purpose because they were trolling us. The internet.
I love how they troll us and I don't even pay attention. Like, you're trolling us, but I don't even pay attention. It's like, come on. Like the other day, someone asked me about, oh, what did you think about them using the word pirate and pirating stuff? Did it get under your skin? I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, you have to be entertaining enough for me to be offended. Like, half the time, they're hidden messages I don't even get. Oh, they said that? I really wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Aaron Morrison... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the best part about that, they were doing it good at the beginning of the year. The best one, you remember that Triple H promo earlier in the year where he went through Rob Van Dam and Jericho and all those guys, and he was talking about golden shovels, and basically everybody called it the golden shovel promo that he gave. He was trolling the shit out of everybody. I thought that was brilliant what he did. He just
I like it, but here's the thing, and maybe it's they beat me down so much. You have to give me something for there to be hope. Like, I went to, I had POW training, and eventually you break and don't give a shit. Like if you've been to a third world country or a place like a really bad prison or POW, they gave up hope. The problem with this, oh, my mark, my golden shovel, wink, wink, he's being buried. We have to care. Like, really, it's got to the point where you're at a POW camp and you're like, oh, all right. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be something there for us to hold on to.
By that rationale, are you saying that WWE fans are suffering from Stockholm syndrome?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Maybe.
Especially WWE defenders.
Yes.
Like, my whole thing is, when you say something you're a fan of makes money, what does that tell you about your taste? Oh, the Yankees didn't win the World Series, but they made money. Oh, Justin Bieber sucks, but they made money. Like, if someone said about Justin Bieber what they say about WWE, people would look at them like they're special, they're stupid. But yet when they do it WWE, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be in the business. It just doesn't make sense. It does. You know, I don't understand. You know, like if your team makes tons of money, but they lose every single game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, then what does it matter? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers make a profit, and they suck. Do you think I go, well, at least the Buccaneers make money? No, because I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't understand that way of thinking. Now, if you're part of the company, okay, it's a little fucking cocky, a little douchey. Even the best writers are not that fucking douchey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, the best entertainers ain't that douchey. But if you're in the company and you want to be that much of a douchebag, go for it. But if you don't work for WWE and you're like, well, they make the most money, yeah, there's something wrong with you mentally. What does that fucking matter? You know, it's kind of like, hey, I don't know. I could give tons of examples. It's just wrong. Aaron Moore says, what's up, guys? Nothing, just winding the show down. Wrestling Rantin's like, we winded the show down 7 hours ago. And look, Lennox Wooderson says, Raw was a loss. The Gator ruined it for me. Yeah, the Gator is ruining it for a lot of people. I don't know. Like, I want to defend it, and at one time I could defend it. Like, oh, well, it's cute. Get out of the way. But once again, it's just the same thing over and over and over. Do you think next week's Raw is going to be any different? Like, when do you think the next time we do a Raw review, and like, wow, that was different?
God, you're going to have to get into WrestleMania season, which will probably be after Survivor Series. I think probably then, because they're going to have to start doing stuff that's going to be big. So this is always the slow time of the year for them anyway. They're just treading water, just trying to get through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So we've got a while.
With that, I just think that's such a stupid excuse and all that, but then switch. You know what I'm saying? Switch. Kevin Smith says, Vince Russo deserves to be powerbombed into a septic tank full of piss and shit. Hashtag ho ass, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the thing is, it's like, oh, it's the word. Because my whole thing is I hate saying the N-word, and then I hate it's just an ugly situation. But, yeah, so he's not a big Vince Russo fan. So there you have it. Anyway, nuts. I think that's it, my friends.
Yep.
You want to wrap this up?
Well, it's your show. You wrap it up, but I'll just wrap it up by saying thank you very much for having me on this week. We're going to have to do these again. We're going to come. I think we'll talk off air about kind of planning these out in the future. Because you know I like to promo a little bit, so I didn't promo this one at all. So I'll promo next time.
Me, I'm just like I do it every day. It's going to come out eventually. Like my whole thing is I am the WWE of podcasting. It's like it might not be good, but it's going to be there every day.
And you're going to like it.
Yeah, so... But, yeah, no, definitely. And if someone smarter than us could figure out simulcasting, that would be awesome. Because then we could be like, we're on this channel and this channel. Not that that's a big deal, but it would sound kind of cool.
Yeah. It'll be the first simulcast of Nitro and Raw.
Maybe we'll ask Google. They love wrestling review shows.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're very fond of you right now.
Actually, we do have one fan. We do have a Google employee that's internet infantry, and I thank him. I describe Google as the same way most people describe cops. They're not all bad. I know one good one. You know what I mean? There are some good Google employees, and we were just lucky enough to find one to save our show. We thank you for that.
Yeah, but you did get Trayvon Martin a couple weeks ago, so let's.
Yeah, that is
it
true.
It did happen.
True. It could happen at any moment. So, but the thing is, if you really want to do YouTube, and I'm not even saying serious as a career, if you want to do YouTube as just like a passionate hobby, not like a job, not a career, you're like, wow, I'm really gonna put effort into this as a hobby. Don't do it unless you meet someone at Google first. Like I would have never used, because Google Plus is so easy. We're live. It's so simple. YouTube is so easy. The audience is there. The SEO is there. Everything is great. They even have Google Ads, which is great, especially for if you do stuff outside of pro wrestling. Like if you do a video game channel, you can make a lot of money off Google Ads. But what I say, even if it's just a passionate project, like to me and you, this is a passion project, right?
Yep.
Even as a passion project, I would suggest meet a Google employee first. Because if you don't know a Google employee, they could take thousands and thousands of hours of content away. And it's just sad. And, you know, some people do make their living off this, and much props to them, success. You know, I don't know how many make their living off wrestling, but I know people make their living off YouTube, you know, more and more people every day. Just make sure you know someone. And the thing is, I would probably join one of those networks. It's just scary because they all say the same thing. It's like, come join our network and we can help you out. And you're like, well, what if I join and you don't help me out? We don't like to talk about that. So even if it's just a passion project, meet someone at Google or YouTube first. And then go for it, because then at least someone can get you through it. All right. Go to Wrestle and Rantin's channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And also go to Kocosports.com, KOCOsports.com, and Kocosports.net. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports, and above all, where you can be a passionate fan. I love how there's always a pause. Like,
That's where the comma is.
Yes, that's where the comma. Thank you, sir. Tip my hat off to you. All right. So thank you, Wrestle and Rantin. Thank you, Internet Infantry. And with that, I am over. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, bum.